You damn right. Hope everybody is having a good Tuesday. It's not a normal Tuesday. It's that crazy Thanksgiving week where everything gets compressed. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. This is a weird week. This is a wild week, and things will change. We hope you are having a good one so far. It's Chad and Zay. Plenty of football to get to. Plenty of interviews to try to fit in. We'll explain all of it as we go along. I'm Chad Hastings, joined once again by Isaiah Collier. He might take some food off your Thanksgiving plate if you walk away too slowly. What's up, Zay?
Better have some seasoning on that plate or something, some serious spices, because I don't eat just any Thanksgiving meal.
Oh, got to have a deep fried turkey?
Oh, yeah. I heard Jeff Howe talking about that. He's right. If it ain't deep fried, what are we doing?
Yeah, once you have the deep fried turkey, it is a crossing of a line that you realize, oh. It was sort of like, you don't remember this, Zay, you are too young, but the moment where you are consistently getting to use a television with a remote control versus the old way. Like, I'm old enough, I remember the non-remote control days.
Damn.
So that moment when you are officially comfortable with using a remote control and you realize, I will never go back again. I am never going back to that place. I think that's the way a lot of people are about regular turkey once you have that fried turkey.
For sure. And I know there's a lot of people that probably have a really good baked turkey and whatnot. I've had a Jamaican jerk turkey before.
Oh, now that's got to be
I want to say Hoover's does that.
Come
and
on now.
That's on point. So, yeah, it depends on who's making it. Who am I to judge a baked turkey? If it's good, I'll eat it.
Okay.
But fried's the way to go.
Fried is definitely a great way to go there. If you get your deep fried turkeys going, we certainly wish you all the best. Maybe you're deep frying a whole bunch of turkeys for friends and family. Please be careful. Know what you're doing. Don't have turkeys blowing up in people's garages and stuff like that. It is Tuesday. There's a lot of football to get to. And again, we're at a compacted week. We're going to sneak in a couple of interviews that normally hit later in the week. We're going to sneak them into today since we don't have a normal Thursday or Friday show this week. We are going to sneak Brian Jones in coming up here at 12:30 from CBS Sports. And we're going to sneak Jeff Ketchum in today from Orange Bloods at 2:05. Also, our normal conversation with Jeff Ward coming up at 1:05. So all that is going on today. Why don't we start out with that spec set piece, and we'll get right in with some Longhorns and Cowboys and move from there. Specs might be a great place to hit today if you're still getting a couple things for your holiday get-togethers. Speaking of a soccer vibe, there was a big upset at the World Cup. We'll get you a World Cup report coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, Zay, let's start off with these two football teams. Yesterday, I sat back, I listened, I watched, I soaked it up, I read about both teams. Man, there's some positivity around the Texas Longhorns and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of went back over those games because I watched every bit of both, and I just thought, okay, but there was a lot in there that I think was fool's gold. There was a lot in there that I don't know if it translates. Not sure.
Man, don't bring your Aggie depression over to our Longhorn parade.
You think
Please
that's what
don't.
this is?
Yes.
Is that what this is?
Yes, because you can't trust nobody. All you've seen is chaos this season with your Texas A&M Aggies. Don't bring that over.
Okay.
It has been a very roller coaster season for the Texas Longhorns, but for some people, it's a solid season if they go 8-4 and beat Baylor this Friday.
Okay, so now let's have you put your trust on the table here, and I'll ask the people the same question. Because right now, if you made me go to the betting window and I can bet either Longhorns and Cowboys win or any other combination, I'm gonna bet any other combination. So I want all y'all fans out there, especially all of you double fans, you double circus tent fans, Longhorn and Cowboy fans, are you that confident? Would you bet on both teams winning? Zay, now you're not technically a Cowboys fan, but you are a Longhorn fan. Right now, would you bet on both those teams winning this week?
The Cowboys, yes. The Horns asking me tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
I'm still doing my research. I'm still watching film and whatnot. Watched the TCU game versus Baylor today, this morning,
Ooh.
and yeah, that game kind of scared me. Again, if TCU doesn't bring that firehouse formation and kick the field goal at the end of the game, then they'd be out of the college football playoff, and we'd be talking about one of the biggest upsets of the year. That didn't happen, and now Baylor's sitting at 6-5. So they're capable, and we've been talking about it all season long, especially you. This isn't the best matchup for Texas because they controlled time and possession in that TCU game. They controlled the total yards with 500 against TCU's 442. So, they were clicking. And if it wasn't for Max Duggan making that last minute drive up the field, they had a real Blake Shapen and the Bears when they got the ball back, and TCU they threw a little pass to DeMarcado and he dropped it for the 2-point conversion. They got quick 3 and out. Quick. It was you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when the Buccaneers squeaked their way past the Rams a couple of weeks ago, and Jalen Ramsey was like, "This is BS."
Yeah, right. Okay,
that's what it reminded me of. But
it had that feeling.
Okay. Like Dave Aranda was probably like, "Damn, guys, we couldn't give them a minute. Like we couldn't get one first down, and that was too much time." So, are we going to see that Baylor team that was maybe looking forward to that TCU game and gave up an absolute dud the week prior to Kansas State, 31-3. I can't help but see that's an issue. That's very odd. And everything that I just said about the last game was the opposite in that Kansas State game. They controlled time of possession, 37 to Baylor's 22. They controlled the total yards, 405 to Baylor's 306. Yeah. So Will Howard, he was dealing in that game. Chris Kleiman had a good game plan. Deuce Vaughn was running. And if the Longhorns could get to that running style game, Steve Sarkisian, hopefully this Kansas game gave him a motivation to say, this is Bijan's last game. This is Roschon's last game. A lot of these guys' last ones here at DKR. We got to go out giving those guys the ball. Yes, Quinn is the future. He'll be back next year. He had a roller coaster season, some good, some bad, but Bijan Robinson, the 209 or the 243 that he just gave you, 25 carries, give him the ball and control that time in the game. And you should come out with victory on Friday.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what would the narrative be around Baylor if they had beaten TCU. Find any way to do it. Would we be having a different discussion? They played the now undefeated team and number 4 team in the country. They played them off their feet right to the end, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of discussion of that. But you bring up some great numbers from that. And again, I'm not trying to doom and gloom. I'm just trying to be realistic here. Now, somebody does say, get him, Zay. Don't let him spike our Kool-Aid with that sour Aggie water. Nate says, Nate texted in case people forget, there is a bad side of Daniel Jones. You are about to see it this week. Boy, I hope you're right, Nate. Remember, Specs text line is 337-3776. And then this one on the Longhorn, Zay, says, Longhorn fans are too emotional. They have short-term memory. Remember how Colt and Vince struggled as freshmen? Sark is a great coach that has to put up with the most unrealistic fan base in the country. Most colleges would kill to have our talent and record. Well, yeah, that's true. That is true, but that's where you want to go? You want to play that game?
Yeah.
You want to have talent and you want to have a record that most colleges would take? Come on now.
The record doesn't match the talent.
That's not what it's about. That's not what Texas football is about. Come on, Longhorn fans, you know that.
Yeah. Got more pride than that, my guy, whoever said that. But look at all of the losses, Chad. Look at all the close game losses from Alabama, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State to TCU. All those games were very close and winnable games, whether it was Steve Sarkisian making mistakes, leaving Quinn Ewers in too long, or not giving Quinn Ewers more opportunities to make successful plays by dumbing down the play calling and not throwing so many deep shots or not utilizing Bijan Robinson enough. And, this defense, they're just now figuring it out all together. The defensive line, the front 7, Jalen Ford, DeMarion Overshown, Tucker Dorsey at times, those guys have been solid all year long. Keandre Coburn, Trevondre Sweat, Baron Sorrell, he's been great as of late.
And they've had a nice run, like I pointed out yesterday, for those that think I'm trying to dog the Longhorns out somehow. I like the run this defense is on since Stillwater. Now, that day was not great. It didn't end for them well.
No.
But since then, I really like that run that they're on where they make plays against K-State, where they did enough to beat TCU, more than enough, and didn't get rewarded for it. And then what they just pulled off. The question is, can you trust PK against this Baylor offense? That's the question for Friday morning.
Yeah, and what Baylor likes to do is what the Longhorns do best, and that's stop the run. They're going to utilize all three of those running backs. Craig Williams had a big day against TCU with 112. Richard Reese, their very high guy they're really high on. He's only
good.
A freshman. He's only a
He's
freshman.
good. Yep.
He's only a freshman, man. And number 29, he had a solid game, and they used Jones too, and they also used those guys in the passing game at times. But yeah, I just think, this defense, like you said, they've had good moments as of late. Going back to that Oklahoma State game, they showed flashes, and they had those 4 possessions where they got stops in the third quarter, but the Horns just couldn't put any points on the board. That was one of those 3-point in the second half games that we've been so, frequently seen this season. And this defense overall, I've given this defense probably a B+. Especially with the turnaround last year, how bad they were. Guys giving up on the team, guys giving up on plays, quitting and stuff like that. It's been a complete turnaround. So if Steve Sarkisian can understand, which we're at the last game of the season, I don't get how you don't. This is Bijan Robinson's last game. I can't preach that enough. This is it at DKR. I'm sorry, people. He gone. Like, the value of the running back is just too slim.
Certainly the last time in that stadium.
Yeah. I was watching 49ers last night. They were using a plethora of running backs. Deebo Samuel was playing running back. They were doing all types of stuff. So there's no bell cow, Earl Campbell, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. That guy is gone. So Bijan Robinson has to capitalize on his opportunity now, and Steve Sarkisian, knowing that, 35 carries on Friday.
So 35. That sounds like a good number. That sounds like a good number. 35. So the team Texas is playing on Friday, and the team last night that beat the Cardinals, I feel the same way about both of them. I hate how much I love them. I hate how much I love the way Baylor will scheme up runs and the way San Francisco schemes up runs.
Oh, it's so good.
Kyle Shanahan schemed up a couple runs last night. I had to rewind to make sure I saw what I saw.
I was rewinding stuff too last night. It was crazy.
Wait a minute. Did they just set up in that formation but ultimately do that? It's remarkable stuff.
Like, you're throwing the Christian McCaffrey. He's outside as a wideout, and you got your wide receiver Deebo Samuel in the backfield.
Right. Yeah.
So, if I'm a defense, I'm looking around, head on a swivel, what the hell's going on? You saw Deebo on that beautiful jet sweep reverse play that he took to the house. They're scary, man.
They're dangerous.
And they're finally getting healthy.
And that's a huge win because it gets them to 6-4. They were already that 7 seed in the NFC. Now they're trying to move up a little bit. Huge win for San Francisco last night.
Hey, it was all on Garoppolo.
38-10.
Their defense is good enough. Their offense, everybody, all the weapons from Brandon Ayuk, he scored yesterday. Just mentioned Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. I talked about him. Once he gets going, look out. He had 2 touchdowns yesterday. We know Christian McCaffrey, they're giving him just enough touches. And then also using Mitchell too. They're scary as hell.
Did you catch Garoppolo's passer rating number? 131.9. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah.
If Jimmy G does that, look out. Here, let me ask this question. Here's the weird question that just popped in my head. Do you think bad Jimmy Garoppolo is better or worse than bad Ryan Tannehill? Which one buries you quicker?
Bad Ryan Tannehill.
I agree. So is a weird thing to be congratulating Jimmy G for this. But I think when he goes wrong, their offense can save him more.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Way more talent around the offense where he doesn't have to rely on, just his arm talent. And I want to say there was a stat that he's 10-2 when he has 0 touchdown games.
0 touchdowns?
0 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was floating around last week. And then he has the crazy 4-touchdown game last night.
Yeah, no, if he's going to do that, they'll really be dangerous. We definitely have some NFL to get to. Let us know what you think. Cowboys fans, Longhorn fans, where is your confidence level? Somebody texted, here's a whole nother issue. I will sacrifice a Cowboys loss if it means a UT win on Friday. Whoa.
I'm with that.
They're going to sign up. Well, of course, you're up for that. You're not a Cowboys fan. This is a Cowboys fan saying they will sign for a Giants victory if it means the Longhorns beat Baylor. My goodness, I'm not sure.
Because if you lose this game, the Giants get the upper hand in the division.
Yeah, that'd make the Cowboys 2-2 in the division, and you would have split with the Giants instead of you win this thing, you sweep them. That's different. It's very different. All right, so a lot of football to get to today. In fact, coming up, we were able to catch up with Brian Jones of CBS Sports, and we will get that to you. Brian picking Texas and Baylor. Is he picking the Longhorns to win? You will find out, plus some other big games of the week as well. And Zay asks him about a rumor that's been floating around the SEC lately. You'll get Brian's answer to that coming up as well. Right now, let's get you caught up on the biggest sporting event on planet Earth. The World Cup continues. Yesterday, it was about the U.S. team and that tie with Wales. But early this morning, there was a crazy upset. Let's get you a World Cup report with our guy, Glenn Davis.
World Cup updates brought to you by Daspit Law Austin. DaspitLawAustin.com. 512-865-6710.
How about the first shock of World Cup 2022 in Qatar and Group C earlier today? Saudi Arabia knocking off Lionel Messi and Argentina 2-1 that one can only call Shock City. The great storyline of this World Cup is of Argentina winning it with Messi leading them to glory. All seemed to be going according to plan with Messi converting a penalty in the 10th, but in the 48th minute, Saleh Al-Shehri would equalize only to be followed by a magnificent curling finish by Salem Al-Dwasari. Yes, this is shocking, but remember Argentina has a history of slow World Cup starts. After winning the World Cup in '86 with Diego Maradona leading the charge, they would lose their 1990 World Cup opener to Cameroon. Aggressive tactics, committed defending gets it done for Saudi Arabia, who pull off one of the greatest upsets in World Cup history. I'm Glenn Davis.
This update brought to you by Daspit Law Austin and Soccer Matters. Monday nights at 7 on the Horn.
Normally Monday nights at 7. This week, Wednesday night at 8. Tomorrow night at 8, it will be Soccer Matters. They had to move because of the Texas basketball team last night. Got the win against Northern Arizona, 73-48. Nice, easy win for that basketball team, Zay.
Yeah, it was. Yo, Jeff Howe, I'm telling you, if you get drunk enough, go outside, do about 8 360s, put that hand over your eye. Tyrese Hunter does TJ Ford things. I am not saying he is TJ Ford. I am not saying
you're not
sober.
Close to that. Not sober.
You have to be drunk as hell, like Red Fox, like just almost blacked out. But it's there. There's some with it. And Shad, last night they threw him a lob. Marcus Carr threw him an alley-oop. He's only 6 foot, and he went and got it with 2 hands, and it was nasty. And it's just like guys that height shouldn't have that athleticism. And there's rumors that he has a 45-inch vertical.
Oh, goodness.
I know it's in the 40s. The 45's a little steep, but I know it's in the 40s.
You know you have a nasty vertical when the rumor is 45.
Yeah.
Right? That's 5 full inches above a pretty freaky number. Because if I could sign up for 40 right now, I'd want to feel what 40 feels like just one time.
Oh man,
give me a 40-inch just one jump, and then I'll go back to normal life.
Yeah. For someone who will never dunk again for the rest of his life, it's a beautiful thing. But I wish I had the bounce that he did. And yeah, you got to take care of these teams that most likely won't have tournament aspirations, because you just never know what's going to happen in the Big 12. You never know how you're going to be ranked when March Madness comes around, where your seeding's going to be, and you can't have any bad games against these teams that aren't ranked in your way. I saw Creighton yesterday. They beat Texas Tech, who you also be playing, obviously, and Creighton, that's who you played December 1st. They look good. They're playing in the Maui Invitational. That's going to be a good test, because Creighton, they also have a shot of hoisting the national title. So like what I saw last night, they handled their business. Marcus Carr, he led the team with 17 points. And, I'll continue to say, with Coach Beard playing this up-tempo style and letting these guys play with freedom, that's so big to a guy's confidence, especially like a Marcus Carr, who is having the freedom to now be a score-first option. You don't don't have to be a pass first point guard, get everybody involved, make sure everybody touches it guy. You could come down right when you touch it, when the ball goes off the board, and you can make plays. He had a nice little Tim Hardaway UTEP two-step like crossover yesterday for a bucket, and I was like, okay, that's some swagger, and he's taking shots that we didn't see last year. So that's very promising when things start to get real as the season goes along. But Timmy Allen, he's still struggling a little bit. Still struggling. He had 10 rebounds yesterday, which is big.
That's help.
That's big, but just 4 points. He only had 2 against Gonzaga. Hopefully he starts to figure out where his role is playing with Sir'Jabari Rice, Tyrese Hunter, all these new guys, because his role's different from last year. Last year, the Horns really needed him to score. This year, him having 10 rebounds, maybe 5 assists, 6 points, sometimes that will be just enough if he plays good defense and, plays hard. So that's the depth on this team, and that's what's, very exciting about this squad.
If the rest of these dudes keep playing like they're playing, and then Timmy Allen finds, like you said, kind of finds his new groove on this team, good grief.
Yeah.
That could be really dangerous for the opponent.
Yeah, Arterio Morris almost dunked on a dude yesterday, too. These guys are absolutely fearless. Like Dylan Mitchell, and when you're number 4 now, which they are, top 5, that, bullseye's on your back. I think this is the type of squad that will relish it and thrive in it. And Chris Beard, he's not gonna really let these guys know how good they are. He's going to keep them humble, and that's what you need if you're trying to play in the last or the first weekend of April.
Yeah, I like their attitude right now. That Creighton game is going to be interesting to start December. They've also got that Gregory Gym game coming up. If you want to try to squeeze inside the Greg, that is this Saturday at 3. Hopefully by that time, the Longhorn football team will have won for you, Texas fans, and you'll just be waiting to see what happens Saturday night with Kansas and Kansas State. We will get to all of that. Jeff Ward coming in at 1, Jeff Ketchum at 2. We're going to squeeze in some interviews for you, including up next with Brian Jones of CBS Sports. They've got the Iron Bowl for you on Saturday. They've got that Arkansas-Missouri game for you on Friday on CBS. We'll also get Brian's pick on Texas and Baylor. Then coming up into Crap Bag, I got to hit the uniform police for you because there was some weird stuff over the weekend. This is The Horn. All right, I know I'm supposed to know this one. Turn this up a little bit. Oh, this is this is the brothers, I think. Right?
Yeah, they're like the white
This is
Milli
the brothers.
Vanilli.
Yeah. It's Nelson.
Nelson,
There it
go.
is. After the Rain by Nelson. Oh, my God. I have not heard this song in a while. My wife would approve. Whew, but my ears wouldn't necessarily. That's a little sweet for me. Little candy. Little too much on the sweeter side of things. But hey, that is a talented family. That comes from the Ricky Nelson bloodline from way back in the day. Those are the two sons, the twin boys, I believe. Gunnar and is it Gunnar and Matthew, I think are their names? The Nelson twins, Ricky Nelson's guys, Ricky Nelson's sons, who had a successful run it was just a couple years. Didn't last too long, but then it faded out pretty fast.
Yeah, if you ask somebody who had no idea who these people were, they'd be like, what race are they? I'm like, oh, I don't know. What's their names? Gunnar? Oh, okay, I get it.
Matthew and Gunnar.
That's
Matthew and Gunnar. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I think I know what we're dealing with. All right, before we get to Brian Jones, you had something?
Yeah, man. Yesterday, ESPN did my man Colt McCoy wrong.
Okay.
Because we know when it comes to the looks battle, it's a tough matchup between him and Jimmy G.
Yeah, anybody in Jimmy G.
Yeah, this fool Jimmy G came into the stadium rocking like this pink suit, looked like he should have been on South Beach as one of the club owners or something like that, like a Cuban club owner.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, he was clean. And Colt, it's Colt. Country boy, small town Texas boy. And he had like this really red face. I don't know if it was the camera.
Oh, no.
Or it was just Colt being nervous before the game. Clearly, it wasn't the best for him. It's going to be a tough episode of Hard Knocks this week. Last week was cool. They were praising Colt a lot.
Right.
I was digging last week's episode, but this is going to be a tough one. And Jay Arnold, who you might remember was a former A&M offensive line, of course, he had
Can't remember the name yet.
jokes to say about Colt. He said, I've seen enough Hallmark Christmas movies to know she left Jimmy G for Colt McCoy after meeting him at the Christmas tree farm.
Oh, come on. There's no need for that. See, that they're trapped, though, because if they don't show Colt, they're not being fair to the other quarterback. So that's difficult, man. After the game, I had that kind of same thought. Jimmy G, I heard the guys this morning talking about Jimmy G sitting courtside at an NBA game with teammates, and the Golden State cheerleaders only wanted to talk to him.
Christian McCaffrey was to the left. George Kittle was to the right. And it's not like they're unknown.
Right.
They're clearly better than Jimmy G.
And Christian McCaffrey's not an ugly man.
No, not at all.
He's not. Kittle's that's an acquired taste, but he's like alt. He's alt good looking. He's all right.
Yeah, George Kittle's like
he's okay.
The hockey.
Yeah, there you go. He's hockey hot.
Hockey hot.
There you go. The girls might say he's hockey hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jimmy G's that's a different level. Yeah. I'll keep saying it. He could be cast as Superman and nobody would blink. Like, that's how good looking he is. Only a very few people get to be Superman, could be cast as Superman, and he could be.
On another note, my wife saw Zach Wilson on TV the other day in his beanie, and she said, what Disney movie is he from?
Oh, yeah.
She literally said that. She goes, he legit looks like an effing Disney character.
He does look like a doll in some ways. Like, his face is almost too perfect. It's like it was created in a factory.
Start Flacco, Robert Saleh.
It's incredible. Yeah, that's a wild situation with the Jets this week.
Yeah, you heard Garrett Wilson, man. He ain't playing.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
That's a rookie saying that stuff.
Garrett Wilson wasn't happy about things, and the coach will not commit one way or the other to Wilson. So, yeah, you might want to move on at least for a week or two. Back to Joe Flacco, since the Jets are sitting at, 6-3, 6-4 this week, and in need of a win in a big way, hosting Chicago. All right, lots of football on the board. Since we have a short week, we decided to fit Brian Jones into the show this week. Remember, you can catch him on CBS Sports. Let's get to Brian, including his pick on Texas. Here we go. And let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe at Cantina hotline for one of our favorite conversations of the week. We like it so much we had to fit it into this Tuesday on a Thanksgiving week. He is Brian Jones of CBS Sports. Of course, they've got the Iron Bowl for you coming up on Saturday. B. Jones, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm good, homie, and you and Zaytoven Melvin. How y'all doing?
We're doing
We're
well.
living, man. We're living. Glad Thanksgiving's coming up.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm actually doing better than good. I'm happy this week, and you probably know why. The Horns won, and that wasn't a given that they would treat Kansas like Kansas used to be treated. And secondly, the damn Cowboys showed up. I wasn't expecting that butt whipping either.
Yeah, it was a good week, Brian. And then those two fan bases, those are our main two ones we deal with. And right now, I'm just trying to figure out how much of that was real. So for the Longhorns, how much of that do you think you can trust that goes forward to Baylor? Because you've seen games in the past where the score gets out of whack and where running backs get out of whack. I mean, you had 2 running backs average 10 yards. That's just not real football in a way. What do you think is real for this Baylor game? Do you trust them to get this 8th win?
No. No, I do not. And Baylor's got to be hopping mad after losing in the manner in which they did. Damn near knocking off TCU. What a fabulous comeback for TCU and the way they are finding, the ways I should say, they are finding to win games. And that's what it's all about on these type of journeys, man. You're going to have some where everything's not clicking and you got a big target on your back and you got to find a way to win. And that's what Baylor or TCU did last week there in that rivalry ball game. So you tip of the cap to them and executing it during the waning seconds to get the W. And Texas, yes, you're going to be at home. Does the offense play as well as they did this past week? And number one, Bijan, because he was fantastic as he usually is. If you give him the number of carries that are necessary for him to get revved up, and man, I'll just say this: I'm on cloud 5 because number 5, he could go, dude. He was just incredible watching him and the moves he can make and the number of people he can make miss. I forget that. Is it Logan Jr. or Logan the second?
Oh, we had a move on him so nasty, B. Jones.
Oh, he had a couple on that dude, man. And I know he was probably sliding down in his seat during the film session like, damn, he got me twice. I feel you, man. It's happened to me as well. So you just got to take that medicine. But Bijan is a beast. And so you got to feed him. And if Texas is going to win, they're going to follow that same methodology this week versus the Bears. The Bears are tough D, big old nose tackle. I think he was that transfer from LSU. And, of course, you got the transfer Doyle, number 5 from Iowa, who also plays on the offensive side of the ball. So should be a fun ball game. Chad taught me well. Past performance is the best predictor of future performance. So until I see it, they'll put back-to-back weeks and the defense as well. And a tip of cap to Jalen Ford. That dude keeps finding a way to get picks, and he's in the right position. So they're going to have their hands full with this Richard Reese, this freshman running back, who's damn good. Until I see something different, a little consistency in these back-to-back ball games, it's hard to say, lean on Texas.
Yeah, you're always nervous about this team, no matter what, and no matter who they play. And Baylor, knowing that it's a rival game for them, they're definitely going to bring it. But let's go to the SEC. There was an interesting rumor that went around the SEC yesterday about Lane Kiffin maybe taking the Auburn job. Now, he shot that down, but how truthful is that? And have you heard anything more specific about that situation, B. Jones?
No, I haven't. I saw that as I was flying here to New York last night, and as you just stated, Zay, he immediately went back at the guy who reported it, and it was pretty funny. And my buddy AT, Aaron Taylor, that works with us here at CBS, he says it best that Lane Kiffin is Steve Spurrier 2.0, and he's great for the game. Get your popcorn ready, and then you go get your brains beaten in by Bama a year ago. But, the guy is he's true to who he is, and he has a lot of fun, and he brings a different element to the coaching profession and to the sport as a whole. So I have not heard anything. There was a little I did hear that Deion Sanders had met with some of the powers that be a few weeks back, and it didn't go so well. That's the only thing I have been able to glean from that whole Auburn situation as we sit here today.
Talking with Brian Jones of CBS Sports. Again, the Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa on Saturday. That is the 2:30 CBS. Before that, Brian, earlier on Saturday, it is the big one in Columbus. The thinking, I guess, is that the loser of this game is out. So let me get your pick on the game, and then do you believe the loser is out of the playoff?
Columbus. Oh, damn.
I'm sorry. I didn't even say their names. Michigan and Ohio State. My bad. I was reiterating. I was reiterating. You guys have the Iron Bowl, but the Michigan-Ohio State game obviously a little more impactful for the playoff itself. So give me your thoughts on that one, and then is the loser out?
I was thinking about Friday's game in Columbia, Missouri, with Arkansas and Missouri. We got that too. I was like, what the hell is Chad talking about? But you're right. The game, baby. That's all you had to say, the game. Yeah. Man, this is a tough one because both they showcase deficiencies. With Maryland being able to pass on Ohio State and making that one closer than a lot of people thought. And then, of course, Chase Brown and the Illini being able to run on Michigan's defense. Blake Corum got his before being injured, and apparently he's going to be all right. They said he was handing out turkeys yesterday, but handing out turkeys and running from that silver bullet defense, that's totally different affair. And we'll see if Jim Knowles' defense can hold up. But at back end, once again, shredded by Tagovailoa there at Maryland, their quarterback, and those receivers who are highly talented. So I am conflicted with this one, guys. I'm going to go with the home team, Ohio State. I say they win. J.J. McCarthy, a quarterback, I think he passed for 200, just over 200 yards last week. But they really don't have an explosive passing game. So let's say Jim Knowles' charges shut down that running offense of Michigan. We'll see if Donovan Edwards is back as well, who was a highly recruited cat a couple years ago, and he can ball, and he utilized him in that passing game. Let's say Ohio State shuts down that running game. Can J.J. McCarthy and Ronnie Bell and these other receivers, can they really shoulder the load and carry Michigan? I haven't seen them do that. I'm not so sure they can. So that's going to be an interesting aspect of this ball game. So that's why I'm going Ohio State. And I think, with their running prowess and C.J. Stroud and Marcus Harrison or Marvin Harrison Jr., it's going to be difficult trying to hold that guy down and all these other receivers that seem to pop up.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's making his pops proud with the performance he's put on this season. But
no doubt.
Yeah, a team that's banking on the downfall of Ohio State or Michigan is USC, who, if they win out, they have a good chance of making that top four. They got Notre Dame coming in. Marcus Freeman's team's been a lot better as of late, but Caleb Williams, man, Lincoln Riley really gives them a lot of freedom. Who do you like in this one?
Williams put on a show the other night versus my half alma mater. That was a fun game to watch, and of course, as we discussed it last week, I thought UCLA would win, and then DTR had to put his foot in his mouth, and that karma came back and bit him rather quickly with the interceptions. I think Notre Dame can win this ball game. I think with their running game, and you saw last week that UCLA was able to move the rock on NC. If they can run the way they've been running, averaging over 200, they can keep Caleb Williams on the sideline, and that defense has been flying around. I'm going to go – I know this is not the conventional pick as far as this matchup. I'm going to go with Notre Dame, man. Wow. I think they can run on this team. I think they can steal a couple possessions from Caleb Williams, who was just fabulous, and he has to have shot to the top of everyone's Heisman list with Hendon Hooker and Tennessee going down in the manner in which they did at South Carolina. So I'm going to go Notre Dame. I'm buying what they're selling.
There you go. Talking with Brian Jones, CBS Sports. Brian, let me ask you, are they in, are they out type of question. Now that Tennessee lost, do you think if LSU wins out, do they get in? And then do you think, even undefeated, is there any way TCU would get left out, even if they went undefeated?
Man, I think you'd have holy hell if they were left out. And they win this week at Iowa State, who's having just a terrible season. They're looking like the Iowa State of old. And then they would face K-State again. And they beat K-State a second time. They've got to get in. There's no way you can hose them. They run the table. The Big 12, a conference that is so competitive, top to bottom, even more so than they've been in years past. And I think they're second to the SEC if you look at the conferences holistically. And the SEC is top heavy, truth be told. So, man, they've got to get in. SC is playing some great ball. LSU's getting in. 2 losses. They'll be the first 2-loss invitee in the CFP because you don't win the SEC. You don't beat Bama. You don't beat Georgia in the same year and not get in. Now, that's going to be a difficult climb for LSU. Even though Georgia didn't look that great, especially offensively a week ago, they'll be up for LSU. So if LSU wins out, you got to put them in. And then maybe Georgia gets in too. So you might have 2 SEC teams, one Big 12 and then one Big 10. I think that could be the final look. And SC, with that brand name, it's unfortunate, but I don't think you give them TCU spot, especially if TCU runs the table.
I hope you're right.
B. Jones, we know we got to ask you an A&M question because you
No, you
cover
don't.
the SEC.
No, you don't.
You do
No,
cover
you
the
don't.
SEC.
What are we doing?
It only makes sense.
What?
It only
wait.
makes
But
sense.
Did I just see some breaking news where offensive lineman was arrested because what do you have? A little less than a pound?
He had some weed on him.
Yeah, he had a lot of weed on him, like he was selling to
How
Willie
much?
and Snoop.
So was it? So they're saying it was intent to sell?
Somewhere between 4 ounces and 5 pounds, Brian.
Oh man, that's intent to Tuesday, man. That ain't selling. Come on. That's for personal use and to share with his buddies there in Aggieville.
I hope Jimbo says that in his next presser. Yeah.
Go ahead and legalize it, Texas. Come on. What you waiting on? What we got? 33 states where it's legalized?
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so we're moving on now. There's no other questions. Is that it? Just y'all got your Aggie
Y'all
jokes
shooting
in.
cannons and stuff like that at
my
people.
Wait.
God.
Well, what was up with that crowd last week? Now, I heard they announced it was 90,000, but there was a video going around where there was about 9,000. I think you had more possums in the stadium than you had fans.
Brian, I don't know if it's a reason or an excuse, but it was, high 30s. It was raining all day, and it did hail at halftime. It literally hailed at halftime. So there were some folks in the third quarter that decided to head to the house.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah. I mean, you don't really pack them in to see UMass. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a limit to how Aggie will be. Like at some point, if it starts hailing and like a big, hunks of ice start falling from the sky, we might go to the house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Understood.
Okay.
You get a pass for that one.
There you go. Brian Jones of CBS Sports just gave my Aggies the first pass of his whole life. I'm excited about that. If you're on Twitter, he's at Jones and Mo. They've got the Iron Bowl 2:30 on Saturday, and as Brian mentioned, also that Arkansas-Missouri game on Friday. Brian, have yourself a great Thanksgiving, man. Thank you for making time for us this week, and we will hit you next week for championship week.
All right, man. I'd give your Aggies more of a pass if they would puff pass.
They're trying.
Well, okay. You're right. They are trying amongst themselves. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Cook 'em.
Thanksgiving, B. Jones. Thanks, man.
It is. There you go. Brian Jones, CBS Sports. We wanted to make sure we got him in this week. We hope he has a great Thanksgiving, and you do as well. It's back-to-back 2:30s. Friday, 2:30, Arkansas, Missouri. Saturday, 2:30 is the Iron Bowl on CBS. All right, Brian made us a little late, but that's okay because he's Brian. Up next, a quick crap bag. I'll get on the uniforms a little bit, and Jeff Ward jumps in at 1:05 to talk Texas. Does he think they're beating Baylor? You'll find out on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy football. I've told you about these pick'em games. All right, so I'm looking at Cowboys-Giants right now. This one feels easy to me. Tony Pollard, 0.5 rushing touchdowns, higher or lower. You're just asking yourself if he's scoring one rushing touchdown. See, I'd go higher there, but they say here at the office I go higher a little bit too much on these picks. But I'm always for some reason, it always feels like the right move. Maybe you're thinking lower on that one or another one. You pick whether your favorite player will have a higher or lower stat total in that week's game for your chance to win big. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. I'm on a little winning streak of a couple in a row. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. You get them all right, and you win. Be sure to check out the pick insurance option as well for a better chance to win. You sign up today with the promo code HORN and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. You heard it right. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Go build yourself a pick'em game at Underdog Fantasy. Oh, I feel like I'm supposed to know this one. I feel like I'm supposed to know it. Is this the be near me, be near? Maybe? No. When smoke gets in your eyes? Smoke something?
When Smokey sings.
When Smokey sings. Man, when it first started up, I thought it was like Wham or George Michael, but I don't think it's that. Is it like Spandau Ballet or somebody like that?
I don't know.
Cutting Crew or something? I don't know.
Somebody says great voice. Somebody else says the song sucks ass.
Who is it?
ABC.
ABC. Okay.
Martin Fry.
ABC. There you go. ABC. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Now and they're the ones that sing the song that was in my head. Be near me, be near. I think that's ABC as well. All right, ABC and Nelson. Wow, what a start musically to the show today. My God. All right, reminder, Under the Lights tonight at 7. Hank Carter of Lake Travis is going to be on the show. Chuck Griffin at Georgetown and the talented running back Alex Witt from Vandegrift. All going to be a part of it. Check out Rick and Jeff and the crew tonight, 7 o'clock, Under the Lights. Let's get a quick crap bag in here. It won't take me long. Here we go. Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Uniform police this week. I would just tell teams to embrace their orange a little more. The the orange hats for Tennessee, I thought it got a little washed out when they went all white outside of that. I like the hat. I think maybe orange pants. Maybe try that out. Just more orange striping or something down the side. I just thought that looked a little weird. I thought it was going to work, Tennessee. I didn't love that. Cincinnati Bengals. That was too much white and not enough orange. Again, embrace your orange. You outline the names in orange. I think maybe you needed to go to the numbers themselves, maybe even outline the stripes on the helmet in orange. You needed more orange popping out of there because you're the Bengals. You just kind of looked like you hadn't really gotten dressed in that one.
That was weird in that Pittsburgh game. I like the Pittsburgh when they go all black like that.
Now, Pittsburgh looked sharp. That looked great.
That's fire.
Yeah. That looked great. I just thought there needed to be more orange on the Cincinnati side. But the ultimate comment this week is for Denver. Broncos. If they're going to let you wear the Elways, wear the Elways. Don't just put the logo on there like you've been doing the last 8 years, you lazy bastards. Put the actual helmet together. Elway, Sammy Winder, Mecklenburg, Steve Atwater. Pay proper tribute to your great teams of the past. Get that bright blue shell going. Do not do the dark shell with the D logo ever again. You don't have to. They're letting you go full throwback. So do it. I was so disappointed to see that on Sunday.
Yeah, they're trying to be, I guess, modern to what the uniforms are now, but also pay homage to those throwback jerseys that Elway and them boys were rocking.
Because they went full orange
80s,
with like
90s.
They went with the Orange Crush look everywhere except the helmet. Wear the bright helmet. What's the problem? They're letting you do it now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it either. They need to go straight throw.
Yeah, you need to do it if you're going to throw.
Or go with the all white and the classic blue helmet, which is also a throwback. Because I like the all white too with the blue helmet before they changed colors. The Elway and them boys used to rock.
You could do that too. You just got to get the right blue.
Yeah, got to get the right blue.
That nice softer blue that they used to have, man. That would have looked really cool. Can't wait for next year when the Bucks, I think, are finally going to be able to go full throwback. They had trouble getting some of the gear, I think, but they're going to go full, creamsicle throwback next year. We're starting to see all these actual throwbacks for a lot of teams. I just want to see Denver go all the way with it, man. You got to throw those things out there. Show everybody what that used to look like with the Broncos, those teams that went to the Super Bowl. Didn't quite get it done in those uniforms, but they certainly had some great teams with Elway. All right, 1 o'clock hour coming up. Jeff Ward will start us off. Is he going to pick Texas over Baylor? What did he think of Texas and the way they whipped Kansas? We'll get his thoughts on that, and who knows what else. It's Jeff Ward, after all. Stay put. This is The Horn. All right, how about hour number 2 on a Tuesday? Chad and Zay with you. Compacted week because Texas plays on Friday, of course. Thanksgiving is Thursday. Cowboys playing on Thursday. And will both teams get a big 8th win on the season? We're trying to figure that out today. If you want to jump in, Specs text line 337-3776. Right now, it is one of our favorite guests of the week. He's nice enough to come see us every week as well. It's the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. We always give them their love, even though he sits in here with us. If you haven't had Vaqueros in a while, get on over to 360 and get you some great Tex-Mex. Maybe that'll be your alternate idea for this Thanksgiving. He is Jeff Ward, JeffWardShow.com. Posted each weekday for you at Jeff Ward Show on Twitter. How are you, sir?
Hey there, move your head so I can watch the game.
Yeah, I was going to
Get out of my way.
I was going to say we may have a slightly distracted guest here.
Nah, this is...
Because you are...
This one's, I'm a soccer guy, but this is France and Australia, which is going nowhere fast.
Okay. Any thoughts on the U.S. tie to start?
Well, yeah, and I know people don't want to do it long. First of all, it is and I would have said this before, not that anyone asked, before the game, this is the golden generation of U.S. soccer players. This is our best group by far. It's the youngest team in the entire tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And these are kids, guys now playing all over the world. They're in the best leagues in the world. This is our first generation of having almost all of our players scattered out, playing in the best competition in the world. They're all rich stars now, but they're young guys.
Because in the past, they just haven't been that good.
Yeah. I mean, this is but what I would have said is exactly what ended up happening. For all the talent and the speed, if you think, go back to Austin FC, it's the same kind of thing. They are fast, they are skillful, they can run at teams, and you can't match up with them. They have 2 glaring problems before the game, and now we've learned it after. One, they're not very big. So these teams that get all these set plays on their end, look out.
Wells was huge.
Yeah, they're huge,
USA.
and so they're going to have a problem. They just don't. They're super fast, athletic guys. These kids are lightning fast. Wales was out of their element. But they're small, and do they know how to close? No.
Yeah.
That comes with maturity. That comes with toughness. The Welsh, they knew they were outmanned. They knew they had no chance. But they know how to close. They got the point. The soccer term is get the result. And unfortunately, I don't know that we know how to get that result just yet. But it's a talented team. I wouldn't want any part of them because they will outrun everybody they play.
You like them against England?
No.
Because they know how to close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those.
Yeah.
The question is, you've got a bunch of these young American kids now playing all over the world, super talented, super fast, super athletic. How are they as a team? We're probably a ways away. The next World Cup, this is a legitimate threat. Not right now because they just can't close.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Is that a fair observation? I think it's a fair observation.
Fair.
It's pretty
I like that.
basic.
Little soccer to start us off.
Yeah, solid. Jeff, the Horns took care of business in Lawrence. Blowout win, much needed win to keep their Big 12 championship hopes alive. What did you like about Saturday going into?
It's the best 30 minutes they've had. You know who had the best weekend? The best 30 minutes, arguably the best 60 minutes? Your Longhorns and your Cowboys. Could it have been any better certainly for 30, for 60?
Right.
It's hard to play any better.
Yeah. No,
I left the weekend thinking, wow, what a difference a week makes.
Mm-hmm.
They're both as good as they could be, certainly in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
But for 60 minutes.
Yeah, we went from therapy Monday to all sugar.
It was,
candy Monday.
You couldn't do it any better. I think the NFC is fascinating. Did you watch the game last night? And if you watched last night, you're thinking, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's your 7 seed going in. That was 7.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You want any part of them?
No.
Would you want any part of Dallas?
They're a 3rd seed now, by the way. 49ers are a 3rd seed.
They should be, yeah. They should.
Oh, because that makes them the division leader.
Yeah, they're going to run away with that division.
Whoever's not leading that division is dangerous. Either them or Seattle sliding all the way down and coming to your place, whoever you are. That's dangerous.
We started the year laughing at the NFC. Not now.
No.
It's the far better league. It's a better conference.
It is definitely deeper
Far
now.
deeper.
Yep. It's
and
deeper.
now if the 49ers are healthy, you've got we've got an Australian goal.
Oh, it's a goal.
Oh, boy, the French are.
It's a goal against France.
They've got drama as usual.
He's down on the ground, Jeff. This may be
done.
it. He's done.
He's done.
I mean, that may be it.
Yeah,
End of his career.
Wow, that's a little dramatic there. You don't know who he is. You just make a
Whoa,
random
yeah,
comment.
no,
seriously, Jeff.
Jeez. No, I don't know about that.
Well, it's international soccer. I'm assuming he's being a little dramatic, is what I'm assuming.
Well, after
that's
giving up
fair.
a goal,
Did it look
I
pretty
mean,
bad?
no. You do it when you want to kill time. You do it the Welsh did. They're flopping around, just hoping that clock
yeah.
ends. You don't fall down 1-0 to Australia and then lie on the ground hoping to kill time.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Those
you're
Welsh cats too big to be
no,
blocked,
it was
flopping and
that's
stuff.
a knee is gone there. But for
Yeah,
Australia to even get a goal is the French are pissed.
All right, there you go.
But I mean, it couldn't have been better. It could not have been better for Texas and Dallas. Could not have been any better.
So this week, I just said today, if I could bet at the window in Vegas, I would bet, if I could bet on either both of them winning or any other combination, I'm betting any other combination. What do you do? Do you believe that both of those things can be real enough that they get the 8th win this week?
Yeah.
You betting both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to
do.
see that momentum continue. I just feel like I've lived in this.
I know that.
You know what I
It's-
mean?
It's I get it. I mean, this kids.
Both
this is
sides.
this is why you don't gamble close to
Yes,
Christmas, all right?
right.
Because some of us have lost our children's toys. We've
Right.
had some issues. It's not a good.
That's right.
You need to have a qualifier there. I'll do it for you. Don't do it, kids.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
But if I was going to do it, I've just
If you made me and said, okay, $100 at the window
Mhm.
at the win. Her name is Sarah, by the way.
uh-huh.
You're
going both win.
yeah, I think I would.
Zay, both win. You know yet? Or you still make you?
Who do you trust?
haven't
The better
Okay.
question is, who do you trust less?
Longhorns.
For me, it's the Longhorns against Baylor because I think I think the Cowboys defense can go attack Daniel Jones. I think the Cowboys defense
Yeah.
against Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I'm liking that matchup.
Because the Baylor Texas one, the Baylor Texas one, I think is this: Quinn Ewers has to beat them.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think I'm right. I mean, Baylor can load up, and they can, you don't shove them around that much. They're gonna line up, and they might play some pretty good front seven defense.
Yeah, that's the.
I think this one's sooner or later you're gonna run into this game. You're not gonna have it. I mean, they imposed their will against Kansas. They shoved them around and gave it to the best guy in the game. That's all they had to do. I don't know that you can get away with that this week.
Yeah,
I think Quinn Ewers has to do something for you.
Jeff, do you think? Well, I mean, Baylor, they're going to bring it
And
anyway.
I agree with you. I think that makes them. I think it's a scarier bet if you had to put your money down.
Yeah.
Baylor, they're going to bring it anyway. They think it's a rival game, but with the heartbreaking,
Man, that was.
with the
I
heartbreaking,
love it when a Texas fan says stuff
Hey,
like
they think it's
that.
a rival
I
game.
know.
They
You know
think
them-
they matter.
They do, but they had a gut-wrenching loss against TCU. Will they have enough life to be up against Texas? And
Man,
they got
that is-
blown out the week before
Yeah.
against Kansas State.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I'd count on that. I don't know what they can bring because that had to hurt. I watched that on Saturday, and I got to give TCU credit. I mean, it looked chaotic, and it is chaotic, but there's a method to the madness when you rush onto the field. I used to calculate you have 14 seconds. If the clock's at 14, you can go ahead and you can get it all. You can do it. And I think they left the sideline at 16. And I think Sonny Dykes said that. Hey, look, we practice this stuff. So I don't think it was quite as chaotic as people believe because you do practice that stuff.
So for you guys back in the day, was it 14 seconds?
Back
was
in
your...
the day, you act as if, had a square toe and no face
I didn't
mask.
mean it like that, Tom Dempsey. I just meant that it's, more than a couple weeks ago.
Garo, you're premium. Roy Chirilla.
Uwe von Schaman.
There you go.
Okay, so
Now we're talking.
14 seconds or so. Do you remember? I'm assuming you
Yeah.
remember practicing that
Yeah.
stuff. Do you have a game example where it kind of
Yeah.
came down that way for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did it a few times. At
Shoot.
one time, I may still have the record for game-winning field goals. So I actually was in a play in Lubbock that changed the rules. It was you talk about real chaos. So you always tell the coach, where do you need to get it? Where do you want the ball? You have that discussion, all that stuff. So all that is, hope if you've got a clue, you've talked that through. So we go out, we are supposed to, our quarterback gets knocked silly on the play that we're supposed to now spike the ball to kick the field goal, and he's wandering around.
Oh, wow.
And so there's no one to take the snap because he doesn't know where he is.
Mhm.
So then the holder and I rush out, but we can't get him off the field because he's wandering around. Now, this is a little bit before we were that concerned about concussions. Now, if a guy's wandering around, they shut it down.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get him off the field. We're lining up to try to take to the field goal, or spike the ball, I should say, and we jumped. Now, that play made a big difference because then we got to stop and set it up. Well, guess what happened after that? They would start the clock on a penalty to keep you from purposely jumping.
Okay, so they will reset you and then
They'll
immediately
reset you,
start.
yeah. Now, I don't know. I'd never asked the guy, our right guard, if he did it on purpose. Maybe he did, but they smartly changed the rule because everyone was furious going, wait a minute, they just moved, and it gave him time to set up and knock through the game winner.
What kind of length on the kick are we talking?
I don't know.
I mean, it turned 30 to 35?
It was like 40 or so. I don't know.
Okay. So still very reasonable for what you were trying to do. It's not like it made it a 55-yard kick for you.
Right. But, I mean, the important part was that it gave us time. But you can't, that, of course, then taught everybody, wait a second, that can't be right. You can't be.
Those no-good Longhorns just taught us a lesson.
Yeah. So he was a smart guy, too. So I'm thinking maybe he did it on purpose.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Right at that point.
Right.
But it was a hell of a play. And because of that, Jeff, I do feel like, not that Baylor's being ignored this week, but if Baylor had been able to finish that game off and give TCU their first loss, I think Longhorn fans would feel differently about this matchup.
Agreed.
I think they're still looking back to that K-State game with Baylor, and they're putting it together with the Kansas game they just saw. And I feel like Texas fans, they don't see it as easy, but I think a lot of Texas fans are seeing this as a fairly easy, winnable game on Friday.
I don't think it's going to be easy.
I don't either.
I don't think they're able to do what they did. Easy for them is hand it off a bunch of times. That's their best game. That's their best matchup, and they had their best matchup this past Saturday. That was a good setup for Texas.
Yeah,
and they did what they needed to do, the right way to go about it. I don't know. I mean, again, depending on how tired Baylor is, I don't know that you can necessarily just line up and say, hey, we're going to run it constantly and just shove you around. There's nothing you can do about it. I think Baylor could actually do something about that and say, you have to throw it over my head to beat me.
Yeah, and then
I don't know what happens, to be honest.
And as Isaiah pointed out, in that TCU game, they didn't get the win. They did control that game, though. They did exactly what they wanted to do, except win the ball game.
Yes, agreed.
Ended up with about 35 minutes, I think, at time of possession in Waco.
Agreed.
That's what they want to come do here.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. But I think that then turns around the guy with the ball in his hand. Sooner or later is going to have to make a big play or two to win you the game, I think. The way the styles of play that Baylor wants is daring you to say, your quarterback better beat me somehow. He's going to have to throw it over my head a few times.
Boy, it'd be such a big win if they can pull it off. If they can pull this win off, get to 8, which can
Quinn
get
has a big game. Yeah,
and if Quinn Ewers has
that's what I
big
think.
moments.
I mean, it's up for debate, but I think it is one that's on him, which it needs to happen. I mean, he needs to answer the bell. I mean, sooner or later you play. I mean, you're about to play in a league where you're going to have to. Your quarterback's going to have to win you some games.
Yeah, that's true. Here's one for you because I know you will think along these lines.
NFC Championship right now is whom?
Eagles, Niners.
Oh, man.
Look at that.
Eagles, Niners. That feels the most real to me. And I'm a Cowboys fan. I
know that. I
love them to death, but right now their offense doesn't have all the ingredients I'd want in the biggest moments.
They just scored 40 on the road.
On a Minnesota team where it all fell apart all at the same time.
I got you, Jeff. Cowboys, Niners.
Okay. I'd love to see it. And I picked the Niners to win the game, by the way. I'm just trying to be real.
I wonder what you get San Francisco on odds right now in the Super Bowl. Because that would be a pretty good bet.
After last night?
Yep.
Yeah.
I bet the members moved after last night.
And another thing,
but you can see it coming. I mean, it's just a matter. That's a ridiculous roster. It's a ridiculously talented roster.
But the other thing I would argue, look who they beat last night.
Oh, I know.
I mean, what's real about that team?
I think the coach that lost to Iowa State with Patrick Mahomes is proven to be the coach of the Cardinals. That's what I think is happening now. I don't know. That's a talented roster. That team should not be as bad as they are. They should not be that kind of a mess. They're like the Browns. They've had too many years of being able to accumulate too much talent, and they've got a talented roster. There's something wrong. I mean, that's all I can say is the guy that kept getting fired who lost to Iowa State with Patrick Mahomes is coaching the Cardinals.
You don't think Kyler's slightly overrated?
Maybe, but the rest of that roster's not. It shouldn't be this bad. That's my point. I'm not saying they're the 49ers, but that roster is – look at the NFL this way. You sort of understand teams, not by the top 3 players on a roster, but maybe kind of numbers 12 through 40. And they got a bunch of players. It's what the Rams don't have now. They just don't have that kind of depth. The Cardinals have had every opportunity to build up a good roster, and they have, and they've messed it up. And I think it's the guy who lost to Iowa State with Patrick Mahomes.
I think they need to. They did. Maybe.
I think they lost to Iowa State.
They've had some bad luck. The DeAndre Hopkins missing.
Either
all those
way,
games.
man. I mean,
Hollywood
either
Brown
way,
getting
it's on his watch. I mean, that's you took a flyer on him, and I don't think it's working out. And he's a guy who lost to Iowa State with Patrick Mahomes. Chad couldn't even do that.
No.
Okay, that's hard. That's hard to do, man.
I appreciate you saying that.
Patrick Mahomes, you do not lose to Iowa State.
I appreciate you respecting my arm that much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like Dallas more than you do.
Okay. Yeah.
I do. But I just think that whole thing is set up now to be really cool.
It is there's a bloodbath ready to happen in the NFC.
And the
no
Final
doubt.
Four of the NFC is ridiculously good, and we didn't see that coming. We didn't see Dallas coming.
All right, if you like Dallas more than I do you like them enough that you tell them to stay away from Beckham, or do you tell them to have that conversation?
Man, I watched the other day, and I go back and forth like a lot of people. I get the upside. Look, the guy's lost it all in crypto, and so you get him for nothing, get him for a few months.
Apparently a hell of a teammate in L.A.
He would have been the MVP of the game had he not gotten hurt, I think.
They loved him out there.
No, I don't care about all that stuff. I don't care about all the feelings and locker room garbage. I mean, it's just
I'm saying it was positive.
No, I know that.
The Rams loved him.
Like he wasn't a distraction.
Oh yeah, he was great for
I
him.
don't care if you're freaking Charles Manson. You can play. You can play. I mean, nobody cares.
Come on, man. We can't have.
Yo, I heard
What?
Charles Manson had hands.
Yeah,
heard he had hands.
yeah, he runs great routes.
Focused routes.
Yeah,
what you're saying.
Yeah,
you got really
right,
focused
right,
routes.
Right.
When he said he was running 8
All
yards, he
I'm
was
saying
running
is
8 yards.
I mean, look, I don't think the Cowboys are so feeble that a diva like Odell Beckham Jr. ruins him. I don't buy that. I don't buy that theory.
Yeah.
I don't buy that risk. I'm just trying to figure out if it's worth the minor investment. I don't know at this point. A guy with an ACL, I don't think
it's much of a risk.
It's not much of a risk. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't see it where they are right now. I mean, CeeDee Lamb has turned out to be almost it.
He's getting there.
Yep.
He's almost a
He's
one.
almost a one.
The catch on the sideline was absolutely
that was
special.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
That
was
and the
special.
guy. The
That's
thing about the
good.
guy is I'm finding myself like a lot of people. I don't know that I'm giving him the due that he deserves. He is tough as hell. The guy
he
is out there every down.
And let's face it, he was that at Oklahoma.
I know.
We all hated him while he was
doing it. So I guess
doing
what I'm
it, but
saying is I'm
he was
feeling,
that guy.
Yeah, I can change in a week, of course, but I'm feeling less like they're that desperate for another set of hands. I don't know.
You may be right. By the way, to that catch, it's a great catch when the more replays you see, the more sure you are he caught it.
Oh yeah,
You know what I
different angles
mean?
and stuff,
Like
yeah.
there was one.
Absolutely.
The first replay as a Cowboys fan, I'm thinking, oh, that might have hit the ground. Then they showed that perfect angle, and I realized, oh my God, what a catch!
Well, how good are you when you make a 60-yarder and then the whole thing is turned upside down in 4 minutes of controversy, and you knock the next one about 70 yards?
Yeah,
That's when I thought,
Maher, that was awesome.
I don't know, Dallas that felt kind of destined. You know those moments with teams that you just feel like, wow, it's all going your way.
Yeah,
It's all going their way.
yeah, that was.
There's nothing wrong with them right now.
No, they look tremendous. But now let's see in a division
I
game
know.
on Thanksgiving,
I know.
when a little bit doesn't go their way.
Yeah.
How does Kellen Moore react to that? Does he still stay with?
And you are a Cowboys fan. I mean, you are
Because I
constantly
know.
paranoid.
I know.
You're
I know.
expecting the bottom to fall out.
I'm just
right?
like these Longhorn fans out there that are waiting for something
I
to happen
know.
Friday morning where
you see what-
Sark throws
And-
8 straight
I know.
passes in a weird moment,
and
you
he
know?
will, right, inside the
Yeah.
3-yard line. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Throw 3 fade routes from the 3.
You kind of know.
Yeah.
I'd love to tell you
I
Dak
don't blame
Prescott's going to throw 25 to 30 passes in every game moving forward,
Yeah.
but
No, your paranoia is justified.
can't guarantee it.
Your paranoia is justified.
Did you not see Dan Campbell handle those Giants with those really young but talented Lions
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Sunday?
I did do that.
Yeah.
I did see that. He did a lot of that with some good physical run game, too. I hope Kellen Moore was paying attention. I hope he was. Most important thing is Micah Parsons goes to get Daniel Jones. The rest of it might not matter.
How healthy is he?
Jones?
No, Micah.
Oh,
Parsons.
Micah. Well, that's a good question too.
And
I don't know.
And I thought this was a great moment for Twitter. Of course, on a weekend when RIP Twitter was trending, I thought a lot of people were spot on when they immediately were saying, "Why is he out there? Why is he out there? What are you doing? Why was he out there again?"
Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
up by that much.
Are you kidding me?
It was silly.
I mean, it was one of those brilliant moments of Twitter users. It was, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hide his helmet. Take his helmet.
Yeah.
What are you
Sit
doing?
down.
Yeah.
Well,
It's crazy. I'd say that about pretty much every starter.
Every starter.
There was a moment in that game, I think it was 30-3 for me as a fan, thinking, yo, Cooper, you ready? You good?
Yeah,
Let's get 4 out of that game. Let's get the running backs out. Let's go.
But in particular, I don't even know if it's arguable, the best defensive player in the game right now, right?
Right.
It's not even arguable. Certainly and on your team, he walks out of the medical tent. Like, that's the point you say.
Right, stop. Yeah.
Take your stuff off, man.
You're done.
You're done.
It's like you were in an Alabama game where you're whipping Missouri.
Yeah.
And it was done.
It's that kind of thing, if you're a Cowboys face painter like you are, it's that kind of thing that you should be paranoid. It's like that moment as you go, yep, see, something terrible is about to happen. Right. Yeah, it's going to happen.
That's what we all do as fans,
Yeah.
especially
And
if you're a
then
fan
what
of
you
that
do
group.
when you're a face painter is then you blame it on Jerry. Like, Jerry called that, and then you go, damn it, Jerry, you did it again. If it can get screwed up, Jerry will screw it up.
You know us way too well.
Yeah.
Way too well.
Yeah, I know.
That's what we do.
Yep.
That is Jeff Ward. Check out JeffWardShow.com. It's posted each weekday for you at Jeff Ward Show on Twitter. Even this segment sometimes gets posted so you can check it out. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
We'll get it to you. We'll do it. We'll get the hamster and the wheel going and computerized stuff.
Okay.
Figure it
All right.
out. Stay warm out there if you go running in
I'm
this
going to go
weather.
run.
You're going to run in this 40-degree weather?
Yeah.
All right. Please be careful.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't want you to hurt yourself. Just like we don't want any of the Longhorns or Cowboys to hurt themselves. They're going after 8 wins this week. We'll keep talking about those games. Up next, your flex segment. We're headed towards the all-flex top 3. Lake Travis and Vandegrift and other area teams are still in the playoffs. Plus, we have some great guests tonight on Under the Lights. That is all coming up. Stay with us. It's The Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk a little sinus and snoring specialist. Hope you are sleeping well this holiday week. All the traveling around you're going to do, the weather changing like it does this time of year, it can mess with you. It messes with your sinuses. It can mess with your allergy situation. And maybe you do have sleep apnea. You've been snoring a lot. You got to get all that looked at. It doesn't get better over time. That kind of stuff can get worse, and it can cause bigger problems down the road, not just somebody elbowing you in the middle of the night saying, hey, you're snoring. It can be a lot worse than that. So get on in there. Meet Dr. Slaughter, just like I did back in 2017. He prides himself on meeting you in the first consultation, and he'll start going over all the different options they have. Since he is double board certified in ear, nose, and throat, that means he's got surgical and non-surgical options that others just don't have, so they can get you breathing and sleeping better. Get on into that allergy center. They can get rid of your allergies for good. My initial exam took less than an hour. They work with most insurance, and that allergy test, it is done without needles. Do yourself a favor this holiday season. Make the next holiday even better, because you'll be breathing good, and you'll be sleeping good and rested and ready to roll. Call and set up the appointment. 512-601-0303 or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialist. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. And they'll probably serve you up one of those in the 29-degree draft at Twin Peaks if you ask them. Well, you're headed out to maybe watch the Longhorns, or maybe you're watching your favorite World Cup game that day. Twin Peaks is your place. Got all kinds of locations. Tell you about those in a second. But also want to remind you that at Twin Peaks, they are going to be closed this Thanksgiving Day to let their folks and you spend some time with family. Be glad for all those things that you're thankful for. But remember, circle Friday on your calendar. They're doing the Black Friday costume contest. They're going to have shot specials, including $3.99 Wild Turkey 101. That's valid at participating locations. Be sure to ask your Twin Peaks girl about that. And once we get to next week, Cowboys fans, and that final run to the end of the season, remember the epic Cowboy jersey giveaway has been going on all season long. Get on out there for all those Cowboys games, except for the Thanksgiving Day. Again, they'll be closed on Thanksgiving, but they got those jerseys ready for you once we crank up those December games and move forward. Get on out there. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views. They're at Stastny, San Marcos, and Round Rock. It's TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. It's the part of the show where you just like to go spooky, don't you? You just like to get scary, play metal for the kids, try to scare everybody.
Yeah, we play a little bit of everything on CNZ.
A little bit of everything on the show, but it's right about this time normally that you take that turn into kind of like metal land. The only voice that comes into my mind here is that does sound like Jeff Tate of Queensryche to me. So.
What about now?
No, not anymore. So if it turned like that, Dream Theater?
It's called Dreamin'.
Ah, well, it's close.
Dreamin' Neon Black.
All right, who is it? I don't have it.
Nevermore.
Nevermore. No, I wasn't coming up with that. Nevermore. You hear what I'm hearing there, metal fans, right? A little Jeff Tate kind of a sound to it. Apparently Tate's out there on tour now, I think, or there's another project that's just called Jeff Tate. Apparently, the Jeff Tate and Queensryche relationship is not healthy as we sit here in 2022.
So you're not a Nevermore fan?
It's a shame.
I don't know who the hell they are.
I have never heard. No, I've never heard of Nevermore.
Wow.
So I don't. Yeah, I feel bad if I'm I'm sorry to the metal fans out there if that's disappointing, but I've not heard of Nevermore.
Little 12-6 curve. All right.
Sounds pretty good. You know, that was good. No, you snapped that off like Barry Zito back in the day. It was well done.
I loved Barry Zito, lefty. Man,
Dude.
he was nice with the A's.
When that curve was on and he had the count on you, there wasn't a whole lot you could do.
Yeah.
If that dude got 2 strikes on you, he was putting one in the dirt
Yeah.
that you did not think was anywhere near the dirt, and it was over. It would just fall right off the table. God, that was a great curve. I hated those days as a Rangers fan facing those A's. All right. Thanks to Jeff Ward for his time. We got another Jeff coming up. Jeff Ketchum. I'm going to squeeze him in. Normally we do him later in the week. We're going to put him on this Tuesday, get his thoughts on Texas and Baylor. Jeff Ward says he's leaning towards the Longhorns and Cowboys winning. Earlier in the show, Brian Jones of CBS Sports says he's picking Baylor to win the game. So we'll let Jeff Ketchum break the tie. And tomorrow, Zay is going to make his pick ultimately on the game. If I had to pick right now, I've said at the window, I would pick Texas. I wouldn't pick Texas and the Cowboys to both win. I'd pick some combination of one loss. And if you ask me right now, my gut says the Cowboys win and the Longhorns lose. That would be my gut right now.
Don't like that.
But that's just, again, I'm trying to be consistent to what I've thought of this matchup. Baylor looks exactly to me like I thought they would look. They are the team I thought they would be. And I just don't like the matchup for Texas. I am hoping I get to say I'm wrong, and I get to apologize to Sark and say, you know what, dude? You outcoached him. You outcoached that bald man. Your defensive coordinator was ready, and he outdueled Grimes when it mattered the most. That's what I want to be able to say.
Yeah, I mean, Blake Shapen, he has his ups and downs this season. There's a couple of throws he made in that TCU game on the move where they were unbelievable. Then there are a couple of throws where you're like, that's the Blake Shapen that I know that makes mistakes. And I think with the pressure that the Longhorns have been giving everybody this season, that could be an issue with them. But if they don't stop the run, then, yeah, it could be a loss for the Horns. Hopefully, knowing what's at stake, that if they win, maybe with the Kansas dub, that they could get to Arlington, give them some extra motivation to get the dub. I'm definitely hoping that's the case.
I think there's a battle coming, and you brought up a great point, too. These last 2 weeks, getting whipped in a couple weeks ago and then coming back and fighting like hell, having Fox in town, just like the Texas had, having Fox in town, but not for you, for the other team, and you almost pulled it off. What are they going to be like? Short week, trying to come back. I know it's Texas. They'll always focus against Texas. Baylor has a special kind of hatred for you guys. Longhorn fans, you know what that's all about. But will they be able to fill that cup again, whereas Texas comes off of a game where they got to just cruise to a victory, rest guys when they needed to. Lots of guys got in the game, but more importantly, your big dogs got to rest. Roschon Johnson, the only real big name kind of injury you had in the game, feel pretty healthy coming out of it. That part of it does feel like maybe advantage Texas.
Yeah, and I'm not really looking for Roschon Johnson to play in this game. There's a picture going around social media of the guys getting off the plane on Saturday. The running backs took a picture, and he's in a boot. Now, everybody has a different pain tolerance, and, it's a short week, so I don't like that either. But, yeah, Chad, just the emotional high of losing that TCU game for Baylor. Dave Aranda is really going to see the mental toughness of his team on Friday, because you got the number 4 team on the ropes, and then they hit a last second field goal on you like that. That'll be a tough one to come back from, no matter who you got the next week. So, again, hopefully the Horns could take advantage of those types of things.
Yeah, we'll see if they can. Obviously, being at home should help them in a morning kick. We'll see how that affects both teams. Could be a rainy kind of day getting started there at 11. How could that affect things? A little bit of wind as well, like 10, 15 miles an hour is what we're seeing now. We'll keep that updated as the week goes on. We had a listener earlier text in, hey, where's Georgetown playing in the high school football playoffs? Let's answer that question and get to some other things in the Flex 30. Here we go. Well, Georgetown fan, I would tell you to go hit health camp because you're going to Waco ISD Stadium for that one, 6 o'clock kick, and that is Friday. In case I might have said Saturday, that is a Friday kick, 6 o'clock, Georgetown and College Station. They are going to play in Waco. So check that one out. Also, the teams we broadcast for you, we got two left. We got Lake Travis and we've got Vandegrift. Lake Travis at 6 o'clock. They're down in New Braunfels. Vandegrift's at 7:30. They are in the Alamo Dome taking on San Antonio Harlan. Both of those teams taking on San Antonio area schools. Lake Travis, again, kicks at 6. On 104.9, and Vandegrift will kick at 7:30 on 101.9 and AM 1260. And oh, am I hoping that the Vandegrift Vipers get that win, because earlier in the day, Dripping Springs and Harlingen will play at 11 at the Alamo Dome. If they both win, it's Dripping Springs against Vandegrift in the quarterfinals, which will be an incredible game, Zay.
Yeah, that'll be unbelievable. A rematch from week one, if I'm correct.
You're right.
That you were at.
Mm-hmm.
And both of these teams have had hell of a seasons. I mean, when you get to the point where you get to play after Thanksgiving, you've had a solid year, no matter who you are. So all of these squads should be proud. But yeah, hopefully Dripping Springs and Vandegrift both could take care of business so we could see a repeat of that matchup, which will most likely be around this area.
And Monday, we will start to unveil our all-flex top 3. So definitely be checking out FLXATX.com and all of our flex segments throughout the day. I got a feeling that Lake Travis, Vandegrift, and Dripping Springs will all be represented, and I think maybe a Westlake player or two as well. For you Westlake fans, you know they are going for, 53 in a row, I think is what it would be now?
Yeah, and Westlake players, quit harassing me on my DMs and Twitter.
Wow.
A Westlake kid slid to my DMs talking about, hey, Zay, appreciate what you do, but y'all don't talk about the best team in the state enough.
They need more attention?
They need more attention. I'm like, okay, mayonnaise tasting,
Oh,
looking,
come on.
raisin the potato salad looking. I got you. Like, I feel like we talk about them a lot. Or I think he was just trolling me because he knows I'm a Bowie Bulldog and knows it hurts a little bit. So I get a little bit of both. But it's still, we praise Westlake and give them their flowers. Trust me. And we're going to keep giving it to them because I don't feel like they're going to lose anytime soon.
No, it doesn't feel like it. Westlake and San Benito is a 2 o'clock kick at the at Alamo Stadium in San Antonio on Friday. So you'll have to be to head down there, Westlake folks. Get your plans together for that Friday. Go to FLXATX.com. You can see all the games we just mentioned. Follow it there. They set the scoreboards up for you, following all high school sports around the area. And check out FLXATX on all your social media as well. Jeff Ketchum of Orange Blood's coming up at 2. His thoughts on the Longhorns, and maybe we fit in a Cowboys question as well. He is a big Cowboys fan. Up next, though, where are we at in society? Zay's had some interesting things this week, including the Greek Freak throwing some ladders around. We'll see what he's got today. Don't move. It's The Horn. That's a great voice. First time I heard this song, it was the cover. I believe this is the Guns N' Roses cover that I would be familiar with. I think this works its way to the Now You're Messing with a Son of a Bitch, right? Is that what this is here? Yep.
Is it? Ah, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, so now I got to come up with the original artist because this is not Guns N' Roses, obviously, although Axl did a great job on the cover. Nazareth?
That's right.
There we go. Finally came up with something today. I was not having
It's been a tough day.
It's been a tough day for me.
Been a tough day.
Sadly, all I knew was Nelson. I don't know what that says. Nelson and Nazareth. That's all I knew. I'm in a very nice mood today.
Hey, even Tony Gwynn struck out a couple times.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. 30% of the time you go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Nazareth, Nevermore, ABC, and Nelson have been a part of the show today. Isaiah Collier alongside. I'm Chad Hastings, and we hope you are having a great start to your Thanksgiving week. Where's your confidence level if you're a Longhorn fan and a Cowboys fan that they both get a win? They're both going for win number 8. And those records would look very different if they get it. Longhorns at 8-4 would feel completely different than at 7-5. And if you're a Cowboys fan, Zay, you said it perfectly earlier. Not only would it be 8-3, if you fall to 7-4 and you're 2-2 in the division, and you split with the Giants, completely different world from what 8-3 would feel like.
Yeah. And look at where the Eagles are. I mean, I know they won this past weekend with Nick Sirianni going into the stands. That was absolutely ridiculous. As a head coach, you don't do things like that.
Oh, I missed that part. What are you going there for?
Oh, well, since they played against the Colts and he came from the Colts, he's still salty that Frank Reich got the boot. And he feels a certain way that Jeff Saturday's there, which I can understand that. But he went up in the stands after they got that 17-16 dub like it was something crazy and was like, that's what I'm effing talking about. That's what I'm saying. That's for Frank Reich.
Wow.
That's for Frank Reich.
So he started like yelling at Colts people?
Yeah, it was more towards the Eagles fans that were in the section, but he was yelling just in general.
Okay, I heard
that's what I'm talking about type stuff.
See, this is where I didn't follow up. I saw a headline. I thought it was just saying that he went to his press conference and mentioned Frank Reich.
He did.
Oh, okay.
He did do that.
He did do that.
He definitely did that.
But I never saw. Okay, I missed the part about going to the stands.
Yeah, he didn't go in the stands. He went like right up to the front row where he was on the sidelines and was chirping at the sidelines. And as a head coach, I thought that was whack. But they barely beat Indianapolis this past week. They lost to the Commanders the weekend prior. So they got guys hurt on the defensive end. They're trying to shake things up. We saw Dominic Sue come in, so they're clearly not completely happy or satisfied with their defense. Cowboys need this game because I think the Eagles might slip up and you might be able to take over that number 1 spot.
Dude, I don't know who Dominic Sue is, but I hope that's how Sue plays. I hope Sue plays like a Dominic Sue. Because if he plays like Ndamukong Suh, the Cowboys are in trouble.
You know what I meant.
I did.
You know what I meant.
I'm scared to death of that because I wanted him in silver and blue, not green. I did not want that guy wearing green, looking like the Incredible Hulk in the middle of that line.
He ain't the same Sue, though.
He's not.
He ain't that same dominant Sue.
He's not. But if he's 70% of himself, isn't it enough?
That's all right.
The Bucs found out it was enough. The Bucs found out that whatever was left helped them win a Super Bowl.
Well, Villa Vea to his right or left, that will help.
Okay.
Too. But yeah, absolutely. They find that out.
They got guys out there with him, though.
They do.
That's the part that worries me.
Right.
I want to see what that defense looks like, obviously, the next time those two get together. What a battle that's going to be when Cowboys-Eagles happen. But this week, it is Cowboys-Giants. It is Longhorns and Baylor-Bears. Always interesting. Always a good feeling when those matchups happen. When you're going division in the NFL on Thanksgiving. I think they ought to do that, by the way, every time. I think they ought to make everybody play division games if you're on Thanksgiving Day. And then when you're talking college football and you get a nice rival feel game, I'll just say that, Longhorn fans. I know to y'all it's not a rivalry, but it is one of those old Southwest Conference games and Battle of the Brazos, and it's going away. At one point, it's going to stop. Texas is just going to stop playing Baylor at some point here in the next few years. So we got to soak up the last couple. We'll see what it looks like on Friday morning. Coming up, Jeff Ketchum of Orange Bloods at 2:05. He's been pretty realistic about these Longhorns this year, as he can always be. He's picked them to lose a few. Is he picking them to lose this one, or does he like them to rise up against the Bears? He's got connections on both sides since Ketch spent a little time in Waco as a youngster. We'll get his thoughts on that one. Right now, though, let's see what Zay's got in Where We At in Society. All right, Zay, do I need to go to my Twitter?
Yeah, go to your Twitter so you could basically see the story and the picture of the kid about the topic that we have today.
Okie doke.
Marcus Stokes is one of the best high school football players in the country, and he had, keyword had, past tense, a commitment to U of F, University of Florida, and they just pulled it because there's a video that came out this weekend of him rapping and saying the N-bomb.
Okay. I'll ask the music snob questions first.
I don't know what song it was.
Don't know what
song?
song?
It's like a quick snippet. Like all I saw was basically 2 seconds of that N-bomb.
So it wasn't. Someone ought to do a rap of that exact thing. This is the new hit, that N-bomb.
By the way, people, he's white as hell.
From DJ PC, it's that N-bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this ain't no brother. If this was a brother, no problem.
We don't know if this was an established song or if this was an original or anything like that.
I don't think it was anything big. I don't know what these kids are listening to nowadays, but it's probably some NBA young boy, or that's what the kids like. But yeah, it was he said an N-bomb. They pulled his scholarship. One of the best quarterbacks in the state of Florida.
He's a quarterback.
He's a quarterback.
That might change things a little bit just because you got to have so many people follow him. If he was a safety or if he's your punter or something like that, I mean, even D lineman, you're rotating guys out. Man, that's a guy you snap the ball to. It's got to be the face of your program. I guess, but me as a music fan, I'm looking for context here. It's not a word I say out loud. It's not a word that I use, but it is a word that is in a lot of songs I like. So if you happen to catch me with that song on, might that word exit my mouth? I guess maybe. I don't do it often, but maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I feel about Longhorn fans singing Mo Bamba at these football and basketball games, which has a very big N-bomb in one of the biggest parts of the song.
Okay.
Once that song comes on, they don't show the fans no more, Chad. Longhorn Network, I've noticed that. Pay attention. When Mo Bamba comes on, it will go straight to the court. They won't show it at all.
Okay.
So because they don't want that problem. And you should be able to realize that it's coming up. I don't have to say it. And you go back to Quinn Ewers rapping the Q the Fool to Keelan Robinson and all those guys. I don't think there were any ridiculous lyrics in that, but I feel like Quinn is smart enough to know, okay, offensive word coming up, let's pass that.
Let's edit it. Right.
Past it, and then we can keep rapping the verse because I understand that's how me and my teammates, that's how we bond in a way.
So for you, there's no way he can act. And also, is this a video where he knows he's being videoed?
I'll show. Yes, he's videoing it himself.
Okay, so he knew.
It's like a selfie video.
Okay, so is there?
And he's real aggressive when he says it. It's not. It's the aggression's not good, but also the song's hype, so you could say he's riding the aggression of the song.
Right. I mean,
if it's DMX, then you understand the aggression.
You have to lean in. You have to lean into it a little bit. That's what I'm trying to add. Is there any way he can say that word out loud in the context of this rap song, and the coaches at Florida know deep down, no, man, this kid's a great kid, and his teammates love him, and other recruits love him, and if they backed him up, there's no way he can come to Florida?
In my world, you're good. In my way, hey, just don't say it crazy. I know you made a mistake. Maybe you should relax on that. But if I know the kid, I know he means well. He just had a moment. But in today's 2022, he has no chance. I'm not surprised at this at all. And like you said, it's quarterback. You just have a different aura and a different way you have to carry yourself. Hell, you don't even like when quarterbacks wear the backwards hat.
I do not.
Think about this situation.
I know.
You
I
know?
know. There's certain things. No, there's certain things quarterbacks need to be doing, certain things they can't be doing, how you react to everything. You are such a leader on the team. Yeah, it's a tough thing, but yeah, it's rough, man. Get the Scully pulled
Yeah,
for that.
that's a lot. Like, discipline the kid when he gets to the stadium. Have the coach call him and say, because clearly he's not that good. Clearly he's not worth like Arch Manning.
guess
If
not.
Arch Manning did this, if Arch
What
Manning
could
did
Arch
this,
Manning say and still get the Scully at Texas?
I'm not tripping. I'm saying, yo, Arch, you need to relax. I get it. You from the boot. It's tough down
Well,
there.
just call me.
But
To me, it's a simple phone call, right?
Simple.
Call the kid up. Hey, it's Coach. What's the guy's name? He's still there, right? The guy with the short hair and what's his name? I can't even remember. Yeah. So, hey, it's Coach. Let's talk about it, man. What are you doing?
He's 17 years old,
Why would-
18 years old.
Yeah. Why would you film that? Why is this? Is it a word you use often? Is it a word you use in a friend group? Like let's walk through this here, right? Do you have like 4 or 5 black friends that you guys hang out and listen to music all the time, and it's a word you're freely saying in groups, so you thought it was free to say it on video? Like, find out. Dig into it with the kid. Figure it out. If he's that good, you may have brought up the ultimate discussion is he may just not be as good.
Yeah.
He may just be good. Nate texted us, no backwards hats and no N-words. Seems fair. Seems fair. I mean, yeah, it's a good combo. Watch the backwards hats and let's not spray the N-bomb around. And I don't know if this was a spray. I still haven't heard it. I haven't seen it. So Zay will play that for me in the break. We'll check that out. The context of it. There's Where We At in Society. 1:45 every day we do it. If you are the friends and family or coaches of a big time quarterback prospect and he is about to send out the video, you might want to double check for content. 2 o'clock hour coming up. It'll start with Jeff Ketchum of Orange Bloods telling you whether or not he's picking Texas or Baylor, Cowboys or Giants. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's talk a little AV consultations. Man, it is one of those weeks. AV consultations has 52 weeks a year where they're important because we're always watching cool stuff. We're watching sports, we're watching movies, we're binging things. But now, when you get to the holidays, it is extra important. So if deep down, you know your house is not the place you want it to be in terms of the screens, the setup, the speakers, all of that, make sure you jot down AV consultations and you give them a call. Remember, it's 255-8678. This week was a sad one for my wife because she's a Walking Dead fan. For those of you that love The Walking Dead, you know things have come to an end, so she's got to deal with all of that and maybe find a new show. But I think there's versions of The Walking Dead out there that she still gets to watch. AV consultations can make sure you're watching all the shows that you love. Maybe you've never seen The Walking Dead and you're just about to get started and binge it. They will make sure it is set up the way you need it. 255-8678. That's 255-8678. Or check them out online at avconsultations.com. All right, how about hour number 3 on a Tuesday? If only the young quarterback that was going to Florida could have just gotten himself hyped on this instrumental, he'd still have the Scully. That's a weird world we live in. Chad and Zay on a Tuesday. Hour number 3 starts with Zay's choice for a beat. Zay, what do we have?
50 Cent instrumental. What up, gangsta? Yeah, if Marcus Stokes was rapping this out, they might kick him out of Florida. That's how explicit this track is.
Oh, this one has multiple words that you wouldn't want.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. We hit that story, and where are we at in society? We are talking Longhorns and Cowboys and all the rest today. Big football weekend, of course, and it's all compacted where you've got Cowboys on Thursday. 3:25 kick against the Giants on Thanksgiving, looking for win number 8. Longhorns Friday morning, could be a wet, rainy one at 11 a.m., clearing up during the day, but they're also looking for win number 8, and they still would have a shot to go to that Big 12 title game if they win, and then they're going to need Kansas to beat Kansas State. That's in Manhattan. They're going to need them to beat the Wildcats, and then the Longhorns would head to Jerry World for a little revenge on the Horned Frogs. But first things first, they got to figure out the whole Brazos thing. Let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline and have one of our favorite conversations of the week. We had to move it, though, because normally he's on later in the week. He was nice enough to reschedule things, even though he's getting ready for Turkey Day. It's Jeff Ketchum of OrangeBloods.com at GKCatch on Twitter if you are following along, whether you have paid for your blue check or not. Ketch, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just watching a little World Cup and trying to get some work done before Thanksgiving. And then I heard that intro song from 50, and I started thinking about when that song came out, I may or may not have frequented the landing strip back in the day when that song first came out.
Nice.
And I remember one night we left with a couple of the young ladies that may or may not have been employed there.
Mm-hmm.
We took this girl to an IHOP off of I-35 in like Old Torf. And this girl ate like $50 worth of food. I thought she had a tapeworm. It was amazing. I was like, and she weighed like 95 pounds. And I was like, there's no way you're going to eat 5 plates of food. And she sat down, and I'm telling you, I was checking for tapeworms on the way out.
Like pancakes and all?
Steaks, chicken fried steak, pancakes, waffles, eggs.
Wow.
It was one of the most awe-inspiring performances I have ever seen.
Dude, there is something about a hot woman putting on a show eating, like just tearing it up at a restaurant. There is something about
lovely about that.
Yeah. There's something.
What made me think, God, you need a better job.
Damn.
She was like, this wasn't the best meal she had all week. This was the meal she had all week.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, that's a shame. That's not good. You're right. Maybe you needed to adjust things a little bit.
I wanted to call Don King and send her over to the Yellow Rose and be like, hey,
yeah,
let this girl eat at the buffet and employ her.
My goodness, that's crazy. All right, we're glad we could bring a memory up. Glad we could trigger your memories today. That is fantastic. All right, Catch, as we get ready for this big matchup, it's one you are very familiar with. I mentioned it earlier. You spent some time in Waco growing up. You got family, I know, on both sides of this thing. So give me your assessment as we get ready for Texas Baylor and what you saw in Lawrence and how much of it you think can carry forward and apply to this Baylor game.
Well, when you look at both sides of this game, it's about maturity. It's about what's left of the tank with one game to go in the regular season. Let's start with Texas. They've been a bit of a yo-yo this season, right? They're up, they're down. I've mentioned before, the fans are bipolar at this point, not knowing what to expect from this team. They come out of Kansas playing so well that this is the week they're getting pats on the back all of again. And you wonder, on a short week, are they good to go? It's hard to say. It will be senior day, so I expect the Bijan Robinson and a lot of players that may be playing their last game at DKR. Obviously, he's not a senior, but you guys know what I'm saying. We're not going to play that game where we pretend like he's not going pro.
Right.
I think Texas shows up. With Baylor, I feel like if Texas jumps on them early, you can get Baylor starting to think about the offseason. But this is a Super Bowl for – look, I was a Baylor fan until I literally got accepted to the University of Texas, decided I was going to Texas, and then it just changes things. But up until I was about 18 years old, I was a Baylor fan, and I know how this game plays locally. It's a big deal. This is as important to Baylor as any game they play all week. So it makes me think that there's an exception to the rule when you look at the fact that last week had to be just a gut puncher for them. And to come back, the weather will be bad. There's not really anything in it for them. I mean, if they win, I don't know that it changes where they go from a bowl game perspective. But they'll want to beat Texas because it's Texas. Dave Aranda's a great coach. He's not a good coach. He's a great coach. So I think they'll be ready to play. But if you're Texas and you can get one of those scripted early fast starts from Steve Sarkisian, which I think we generally think he's really good at, you might be able to knock Baylor out of the game mentally. If it's within a touchdown, though, at the end of the first quarter, they're probably going to start believing, and I think it could be a much closer game than I think ultimately Texas is going to get the fast start and create some separation, and maybe Baylor just won't have the fight in them for 4 quarters. But if I'm wrong about the way this game could start and Baylor keeps it close and it's ugly and dreary and 3-3, then it may be a dogfight the rest of the way through.
Jeff, with it being senior day this Saturday, we already know Roschon Johnson, he's done because he'll be going to the Senior Bowl. So is DeMarvion Overshown. But who do you think might have a chance of coming back? I saw Jordan Whittington and a picture of him in a cowboy hat floating around social media yesterday with people saying one more a year. Who could you see coming back for another season?
I generally think guys who are close to creeping up to like 23 years of age are ready to go pro and make some money. Even if it's 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, some guys just want to start getting paid to play football beyond NIL. And so, it's hard for me to think that Jordan Whittington would come back. He finally had a year where he stayed healthy all the way through it. I don't know. I think we all know who Jordan Whittington is as a football player. I do wonder a little bit. Let's take the defensive tackles for a second, right? So Keandre Coburn, Devondre Sweat, Moro Ajomo, all 3 of those guys are scheduled to walk Saturday at Senior Day. I think Keandre Coburn has boosted his NFL stock to the standpoint he's gone. I think Sweat and Moro Ajomo are both going to play on Sundays. I thought that before this season started, and people would – I got into an argument with the rest of the Orange Bloods crew in the offseason when I said I thought this defense had 6 or 7 NFL guys at the front of the line kind of on defense, and they were like, what are you talking about? Because, granted, the defense sucked last year. But I think all 3 of those guys are going to play on Sundays. I've thought that for a while, but not all those guys are going to be highly drafted. I don't know where Moro Ajomo or Devondre Sweat get drafted. If you could put together an NIL presentation for them that said, hey, we can find $250,000 to $500,000 reasons for you to stick around for another year, maybe improve your draft stock, it's at least a conversation that I think those guys would want to hear. Let me hear the pitch. And then kind of see what happens. We're in a really interesting time with NIL because the transfer portal opens on December 5th. I think it's going to be bananas. And I mentioned this both on Orange Bloods and I mentioned this on my YouTube show yesterday. I'm already hearing that there are potential names beyond the usual suspects among A&M players, right? I mean, Evan Stewart, that thing's been going around for a couple of months. Half the A&M teams rumored to be in the portal. We'll see. I mean, I don't know what that looks like. They may have nobody in the portal. They may have 25. Well, it's tough to gauge. But I'm hearing other names that are already being associated with Texas. That's where the NIL will be active and important with regards to transfers because it was a year ago. They've got Isaiah Nayor, mostly because after he committed to Tennessee, they were able to say, hey, let's have one more conversation where we explain to you how much better it can be if you come here from an NIL standpoint than Tennessee. He listened, and then he switched. then you'll have Texas players who want to get into the portal potentially to see what their value is. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how many – it's not like Texas has a team of NIL people, like a dozen people ready to just work the phones like it's some sort of, like we're trying to raise money for charity. They've got a couple of guys that really are in charge of this thing, or at least they have been. But I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that Texas will be juggling on that front. How they decide to keep their players who might, have one foot into going pro. What can you offer them? What does it look like? What's legitimately viable? It didn't used to be something that existed, right? Guys went pro, but now in an NIL world, you think back to Cameron Dicker last year. I mean, they gave him a presentation. He talked to NIL people, and they made an effort to keep him around, and he just decided he was ready to go. That's the tough part. I mean, you can make presentations now, but sometimes as these guys get older, they want to take advantage of good years if they've had them. They're ready to kind of begin that next step, because for a lot of guys, the dream isn't to play at the University of Texas, it's to play in the NFL. And sometimes it's hard to tell a guy that now's not the time to explore that. But I think, ask yourself this with every player that we're talking about. If you think they're a 5th, 6th, 7th round type if you think they're a true day 3 NFL prospect, I think there's at least a conversation that can be had with those guys to potentially convince some of them to come back. You're not doing it with Bijan. You're not doing it with guys that got invites to the Senior Bowl, DeMarvion or Roschon. But if you got some guys that are legitimately, those might be the guys you might be able to bring back for another year. And those guys potentially have a lot of value to your team this year. But it's a hard question to answer because I don't know that those conversations have really started in earnest. So Sark mentioned yesterday, whenever the regular season is officially over, they'll start to have some of those conversations, and they'll need to have those conversations quickly because the portal is going to be banging. I'm just letting you know right now. It will be an upgrade in terms of the talent available. Real quick, because I don't want to just go on like a big old dissertation and not answer questions. Think back to a year ago when the conversation was Jahdae Barron going to go into the portal? He almost went into the portal because what he saw, he could just look around with his own eyeballs and see, the way you get NIL dollars is to put yourself in the portal, and then schools will bid for you. It's harder to do that when you stay on the roster and don't take such an aggressive action. You kind of get put on the back burner. He saw that last summer and was like, I might just do this and like push some buttons and see what I can get. And in the end, it didn't really work out for him.
Right.
But he was a sign that guys were watching. And I think you're going to see guys just realize, like, I may not want to leave Texas, but the best way for me to truly maximize my value is to threaten to leave. And I think guys at every school across the country saw that. And honestly, if you're worth a damn at all, if you were honorable mention all conference in the ACC, you'd almost be naive and silly not to put yourself into the portal, because at least then you can know what your value. If nobody comes from you, your old school will take you back. They're not saying no to the honorable mention all conference guy. But the only way sometimes to truly know how valuable you are is to let people know you got a chance. Just make me an offer I can't say no to. And like I said, I think the portal's going to be crazy.
It's an interesting point. Talking with Jeff Ketchum, orangebloods.com. All right, Jeff, on the Cowboys, A, are you picking them to beat the Giants? And B, are you interested in Odell Beckham Jr.?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, Odell Beckham is not going to change the season for the Cowboys. But does he make them a little bit better? Probably. He doesn't make them worse. And I don't think he's distraction level guy anymore. He's not Antonio Brown. You're not bringing in a guy that is like going to pull his pants down on the field or something like that, potentially, right? I mean, at this point, if I told you that a team signed Antonio Brown in an actual game, he just revealed himself. At this point, like, that wouldn't shock you. He allegedly did it at a pool in, like, Dubai. So, but I don't think that's who Odell Beckham is anymore. I think he's a guy that is ring chasing. I think that he realizes, he ain't going to Pro Bowls right now or anything like that. So I think he understands what his role and his place would be. And I think everybody realizes you're not getting an all-pro, right? So him signing doesn't swing the pendulum. But I think he'd be a decent addition. It's a team that could be better at wide receiver. So I'm completely okay with trying to improve if nothing else, the depth of your second, third. You don't want to be in a position where if Michael Gallup gets hurt, you're screwed again all of a sudden. And suddenly you're in a situation where CeeDee Lamb is getting more attention than he's already going to get because teams just aren't afraid. Teams will be, even with the way that he is right now, teams will be scared to let Odell Beckham potentially have single coverage against your second or third corner. So it's about matchups. And right now, CeeDee Lamb's going to be the number one guy. Is he better than Noah Brown? If you're getting 20, 25 snaps a game out of him and you're throwing the ball 3 or 4 times, is he potentially getting into the end zone with one of those because he still has some of that in him? That's what I would be intrigued by. But he's not swinging. He's not changing the season. Are the Cowboys getting out of the divisional round? Maybe, maybe not. But he won't be the guy that swings that either way.
All right, Jeff, on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the most confident, 1 being the least confident, how do you feel about the Jayhawks going into Manhattan and maybe upsetting Kansas State to give the Horns a chance to go to Arlington?
Can I ask you a follow-up question first?
Absolutely.
Because this will determine my answer. How confident are you that last week Jalen Daniels shook off the ring rust and is ready in a game like that to play 80% of what he's capable of?
Oh, I didn't think he looked good at all, and they didn't run him like they should have. I thought Lipo should have put in Bean.
So you're not very confident?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So then I think there's your answer. Because I think Kansas State's really good, man. Like, I have made fun of Kansas State. I have angered their fans throughout the past year in saying that I think Deuce Vaughn should go into the portal and play somewhere where the games matter, because I think that's the kind of player that he is. They don't like that in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And what's weird is they thought that I made that comment because I somehow thought or wanted Deuce Vaughn to go to Texas, as if that made any sense. They thought that such a comment was based out of my yearning desire to recruit him to Texas, whereas I was just like, it'd be kind of fun to see Deuce Vaughn play for LSU or Alabama or somebody like that, right?
Yeah.
So, but they're really good. And they have grown. And, the worst thing you say about Kansas State right now is that when they played Texas at home and Texas played a really good game, that they didn't quite pull that off. They're just really mature. They're good on offense. They can play, unlike Kansas. You're not worried about their quarterback position coming into this game, whereas I don't know what Kansas is going to be doing. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at a 3. If Bean or Daniels play and get hot, and it's 14-14 after the first quarter, because K-State did that a week ago with West Virginia, and they just outgunned them. I think if you're Kansas, that's your hope, that when Daniels is close to 100%, I've said this, put Jalen Daniels on that A&M team and keep him healthy, and A&M's had a different season this year. So I look at Jalen Daniels as a guy that, will that guy put himself into the portal before it's all said and done? Because I think he has special qualities that a lot of teams would be interested in, and only injuries have kept him from probably being the best quarterback in the Big 12 this year, with all due respect to Max Duggan. So we'll see. Like, they have a wild card that is unlike any other wild card that Kansas State could face in the Big 12. But right now it feels more like a lottery ticket than a wild card.
How about that? As an Aggie, Jeff Ketchum just got me excited and sad all at the same time with that Daniels comment, because I think he's absolutely right. That's Jeff Ketchum, orangebloods.com, at GKCatch on Twitter if you're getting your follows together. Remember, it's Friday morning, rainy, cold to start, 11 a.m. kick for Texas and Baylor, and the Cowboys play Thursday at about 3:30 or so. Catch, have yourself a great Thanksgiving, man. Give our best to the family, and y'all have a good one. Eat a lot of turkey.
Likewise, my man. You guys be safe if you're traveling out there. And Mr. Hastings, I absolutely adore you. I love you. Tell your family that I said I love them too. You guys have a wonderful next few days. The Hastings family will be in my thoughts.
Oh, we appreciate it, man. Thank you. Take care.
Take care, man.
Good stuff there. Good stuff. Somebody texted in during his story, did the chick that Catch took to IHOP, was she pushing 3 bills? No, he said she was like, 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Some good stuff there. Interesting thoughts on Tech. Sounds like he's leaning Texas. Sounds like he thinks the Longhorns can get off to a start and kind of end it for Baylor early on.
Yeah.
And then roll after that. So it sounds like Catch is leaning towards the Longhorns. We will continue to talk about that matchup, the Cowboys matchup, and more. Why Today Matters coming up on November 22nd. If you're a history buff, you know why November 22nd matters. We'll get some of that, a couple of birthdays to hit as well. Plus, we'll get you an update on this soccer World Cup going on. Crazy upset early this morning, and we'll get you a couple scores as well. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, you know how it is. You're at the party, you're at the get-together, you're at Thanksgiving, whatever it is. Now, if it's Thanksgiving Day, you might have to check and see if Specs is open in your area. But if they're sending you out in the next day or so, Specs, wine, spirits, and finer foods, great place to go if you're going out to find that craft beer, if you're going out to find that difficult bottle of bourbon or vodka or gin or whatever it is you're looking for, they've got it. I got stocked up at Specs a couple of weeks ago. Get on out there. Remember, they're doing their great November charity of the month, the Salvation Army. You can donate at checkout and help them out there at the Salvation Army when you get stocked up at Specs. Specs makes Thanksgiving as easy as pie with lower prices on everything you need for that top shelf table. And speaking of pie, don't forget to pick up one of their specialties, and they've got plenty, but their famous maple pecan pies are made with Crown Royal whiskey. They are made from scratch, mouth-watering, crowd pleasers. They have become a Texas tradition for a reason. Celebrate the season with the gourmet party trays, the homemade pecan pies, the lower prices on all your favorites at Specs. Maybe you're going to hit the Arbor Walk location or Brody Lane. I'm out Elgin Way. I hit that location. Sometimes we'll hit the one up in Round Rock. They've got a lot of locations for you. Visit specsonline.com for big savings on all those fall cravings. They've also got recipes for you. You can order online for same-day delivery if you're super busy. Just remember, the fun starts at Specs. Oh, it is that kind of weather around this Thanksgiving week. Wet and cold. Make sure you got a safe car to drive around in. Apple Leasing can help you out. Maybe this is a Christmas gift idea for you or someone in the family. Call them up, find out what they've got going on, and, maybe throw the bow on the car like in the commercials. But the good news will be you won't have had to deal with all the different things with a dealership. Go to different dealerships and deal with their selection, which may not be what you want. No, you call Apple Leasing and you tell them them what you're looking for. Any make, any model, any car, any truck. I want 2-door this, or I'm looking for 4-door that, or I looked it up and I think this trim package is exactly what I'm looking for. That's the way they handle it. It's the easiest and safest way to get a new car. They will go find all the options for you. They'll do the legwork. And remember, they get the same discounts and incentives that the dealers get. They're just not going to have all that dealer hassle for you. They're going to make sure everything is streamlined. They're going to make sure with the DocuSign process, signing electronically from the comfort of your own home, you're not going to have to go anywhere to do all of that mess. And they'll even deliver that new car, truck, SUV, whatever it is. They'll deliver it right to your driveway, just like they did for me. 346-9977. 346-9977. Tell them you heard about it here on The Horn. You can also check out appleleasing.com. Did she say thuggish, ruggish ball?
Bone.
Bone.
Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a dance, like a thuggish, ruggish
Oh my
ball.
gosh.
Like we're going to the ball. No?
I'm trying so hard to keep you at the cookout.
Gum, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Like, you're getting thrown out how Uncle Phil used to do Jazzy Jeff with something like that. Thuggish Ruggish Ball? Come on, man.
Isn't there a song on, let me try to get it back. Isn't there a song on Southern Playalistic, something about ball, right?
Players Ball.
Players Ball.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that was in my brain.
Okay.
And it's a female that sings that.
Okay.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So that was in my head, and so I got confused. I'm sorry.
Okay, you might not be getting thrown out like Jazzy Jeff, but you're getting escorted out.
Okay, fair enough.
Like a hand on the shoulder,
Can I have
big
a,
Uncle Phil looking brother saying, Chad, sorry about this, but you gotta go.
Can I have like a piece of chicken and maybe some potato salad on my way out?
Yeah.
If I carry it?
Yeah. But you get the potato salad that no one's eating with the raisins in it.
How dare you? Why does anyone put raisins in potato salad?
I don't know. It's a thing.
Where
it's a thing.
is it a thing? You make
somewhere in white America.
You make the reference to Westlake. I don't even know if Westlake folks are doing that. Raisins?
I'm pretty sure in some of these Westlake households on Thursday, there's going to be some raisins and potato salad. They can't help themselves.
I only approve of raisins in really one item, and it's cookies. That's it. Oatmeal, raisin, cookies. Other than that, I'll eat raisins by themselves, but I don't like raisins in cereal. I'll do it in, I'll do it in cookies or like a, Power Bar or something like some snack granola.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
No, I'm not a raisin guy at all. Maybe that Raisin Nut brand every once in a while. Shout out to my grandma. That was her go-to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not an oatmeal raisin cookie guy either.
No?
It just makes me want a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh, chocolate chip cookies.
Because it looks like it.
By the way, shout out to Tiff's Treats. I hope they have that truck down there on Friday. Last game, they had a Tiff's Treats truck. You just walk up and order them.
Yeah, I saw Ricky and Vince Young do a little Tip Treats commercial not too long ago. I saw on TV. So they're getting that Tip Treats money.
Dude, that'd be crazy if you go to the door to get your Tiff's Treats order and Vince or Ricky is delivering it. If you're a Longhorn fan, wouldn't that be crazy? Even if you're not a Longhorn fan.
Oh yeah,
that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yo, VY delivered my cookies. What? What are you talking about? That'd be crazy. Do like a contest where you enter and then they could deliver it. Tiff's Treats. Just try that idea.
I mean, to what B. Jones was talking about, legalizing it here in Texas. Ricky Williams, Tiff Treats cookie, legalization.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They would have something there.
Ricky,
that would be an ultimate collaboration.
Ricky delivering a special snickerdoodle, if you know what I mean. The extra snickerdoodle. Okay, fair enough. That's what I got, by the way. It was two snickerdoodles.
Also, you did say some wild stuff just a while ago.
Oh,
That's on the Specs text line.
What did I say?
Brought up.
What'd I do?
Zay, why does Chad assume we only eat chicken? I did go past that. You said chicken. You did say getting kicked out the cookout. We have chicken. We'll have multiple things at the cookout.
Well, I understand that. But I assume, the reason I said that is I'm assuming that if I'm getting kicked out of the cookout, that I'm not going to ask for like high-level brisket or if there's steak at the cookout.
Yeah.
Even if there's like badass burgers and dogs, I might ask for a dog.
Okay.
On the way out.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking.
Ball.
But I'm just thinking if somebody's grilling up a basic piece of chicken, you might,
I don't know. For Thuggish Ruggish Ball, you might go home hungry. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
That's just terrible.
I'm just going to stop talking about music. That's what it is. I just get myself in trouble every single time. That's the problem.
Shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm sorry for that mishap. That's a shame. I was disgraceful for a crew that's
I'm so sorry.
Highly decorated in the rap game.
Yeah, it's a shame. Zay plays the cool music. I make it seem a lot less cool. I apologize for that. It's a shame. All right, let's get into why today matters. It is November 22nd. Not a history lesson, but we'll just mention that and then we'll move on. All right, it's November 22nd, the anniversary of the JFK assassination. So that means what's that?
Who did it?
It's a very complex answer, I think. I think there's a lot of layers to it. We're coming up next year on what next year will be. Do the math, right? Next year's 60 years.
Wow,
that's crazy. Shout out to our man Kevin Dunn. former employee of ours, former partner of mine, and former, star here at the Horn. Kevin is my favorite JFK. I guess what would you call them? JFK conspiracy people, JFK fascinated people. Like, he is into that more than anybody I know. He's read all the different books and all the angles and watches documentaries on it. So Kevin would tell you a very long story of who killed JFK. It is not a simple answer for Kevin Dunn.
All right.
There was a lot going on back in 1963. I did see today, and Chris Bennett usually sends this out because he's a Longhorn guy. They have a copy of the speech he was going to give on this day in Dallas, I'm assuming. Dallas, or maybe it was Austin, where he was going to end up in Austin by the end of the day because he references the team.
That's what I've always heard, that he was going to the ATX after the parade.
Because he ends up referencing Darrell Royal and the football team.
Okay.
And It's 1963, so that's playing to the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is obviously a badass football team in that particular year. So that is today, November 22nd. Also, my brother-in-law's birthday, so shout out to him. That's another reason. He's one of the few men in my life I remember his birthday. There's very few of those that I'll lock it in. For some reason, I don't know. I don't know if that's how guys are hardwired, but generally my male friends, there has to be something that triggers me to know their birthday. Like, I just don't remember it very well.
Yeah, I remember one of my friends' birthdays, but that was only because he shared it with, like, one of the hottest girls at the school. So
there you go.
She was bad. She would come all dolled out and dressed up, and we'd just be looking at her being like, hey, it's my birthday too, guys. I'm like, ain't nobody worried about you. So,
see?
Yeah. I get
Same thing. My brother-in-law is the JFK thing. I got another good friend. Only reason I remember his is it's near my wife's. It's close to my wife's birthday. That's the only reason he gets lucky enough for me to remember. And then there's all these other random ones that you couldn't pay me sometimes to tell. I don't know your birthday. Off the top of my head, I don't know your birthday.
That's all right.
Haven't memorized it yet.
That's all right.
You know mine?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I do. Christmas.
There you go. See, mine's simple.
That's why.
Once you learn me,
it's
a lockdown. Because everybody can get me on that because they all can remember. Once you hear Christmas one time, you're going to remember that one. So what is yours? So
February 3rd.
Feb 3.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's simple.
Yeah, I always had the Super Bowl on my birthday growing up. I probably had 10 Super Bowls on my birthday growing up.
February 3rd. That's easy for me now. Your birthday is the day the music died. Your birthday is the day that Buddy Holly and Richie Valens and the Big Bopper died in the famous crash.
Oh, jeez. I don't like that.
I don't know if it's not happy memory, obviously, but it's how I'll remember it from now on, sadly. I don't know if that's good or bad. All right, so on this November 22nd, not a ton of birthdays, although there were two badass ladies that I found that have a birthday today. Shout out to one of my favorite athletes of all time. Billie Jean King is 79 today, one of the most important athletes ever. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, 64 today. For Jamie Lee, who was in this last last Halloween movie that my wife went to see. She said it was pretty good.
She said it was pretty good?
She did. But my wife will see any slasher movie. And she loves that franchise, so she was going to go right to the bitter end with Jamie Lee, but she said it was pretty good, yeah.
I just saw the original Michael Myers just passed away. Homie was 85 years old.
Really?
Ain't no way the Michael Myers that was just in this Halloween Ends, whatever it's called, ain't no way he has the stamina to keep chasing these people.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And he never, ever, he never even hit a trot. Ever.
No.
Always, he and Jason both, man, never in a hurry. They were never in a hurry. They always were very deliberate, and they always somehow got there.
Yeah, I mean, these guys like Jerry Jones running around in a mask. I don't get it. Just terrorizing people.
Functional speed is what they had. They were like Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers takes off, you think, well, he's not making that down marker. He makes it every time.
Yeah.
He makes that 3rd and 9, 11 yards every single time. That's the way Jason and Michael were. You trip one time, you fall one time, he's right there.
Do you think Jason and Michael had Giselle ultimatums with their women and said, hey, you need to stop killing? There comes a point of time where we gotta just turn it in. And probably Jason and Michael Myers probably killed her and said, no, you're not gonna stop what I love to do.
But honey, they say I'm the GOAT and I've got to go a chance to go kill in Tampa. They're slower people down there. They're older. It'll be easier to kill. I can still do it.
Oh,
that is the weirdest question you've ever asked, but I'm so glad you did.
Yo, if those guys had significant others, I mean, let's be real. Jason had a weird thing with his mom. he had a weird.
He had some mom problems.
That was a weird little incest Alabama type situation because.
But Michael, there's no way Meme's hanging out with Michael. He was such a messed up kid. He wasn't having a relationship.
I don't know. Everybody needs love somewhere.
Oh man, that's a rough one. I can't imagine him just sitting down for a nice meal, hanging the mask on like a coat rack. How was your day, honey? I don't think that's the way it worked. It'd be a really boring movie though. They should have made that one. That's why November 22nd matters to us. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Up next, it is Stems and Seeds. I'll get you the scores from around the World Cup today, including a huge upset and a nice comeback for those of you that follow the French team. We'll get you the details on the Horn. 50 Cent?
Correct.
There we go. 50 Cent. Because of all this music today, we've been discussing all kinds of things, from potato salad to chicken to
This is actually Lil Kim
raisins and
with 50
things.
Cent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Lil
that-
Kim, she comes up next
That's
and gets pretty filthy.
I'm not sure if they ever dated, but that's a couple I don't mess with.
Let's go to Kim's part.
I feel like that's a. Let's go to Kim's part. What, are you trying to get us fired? What do you mean?
Oh,
We find a clean version?
yes.
Yes? I hope. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, they didn't date. That would be interesting. I know Kim's a little older than 50, but man, she's had a lot of work done, so
She really has. Yeah.
it's depressing.
She-
That's all right, you know.
She got to a point where she didn't look like Lil' Kim anymore.
Yeah.
That's when I get concerned. She pushed it past that point, just like Peppa pushed it past that point where I went, wait, hold on, stop. You don't look like you anymore. Never mind.
That's what I'm saying, because black don't crack usually, and you don't
Yeah.
necessarily need that, but hey, if you want to improve yourself and feel like it's an improvement, go ahead.
The weirdest one to me ever in Hollywood was Jennifer Grey, the one who played the girl in Dirty Dancing and was the sister in Ferris Bueller. She just could not live with that nose, or somebody told her she couldn't live with that nose. So she got a nose job and she stopped looking like Jennifer Grey. It just changed her. And it has to be the reason she didn't, maybe she wasn't trying to get roles or whatever, but it was just weird. You'd see her interviewed and you're like, well, there's no way that's her. This doesn't look like her.
Right.
I thought she was, I don't know. Thought it was fine. There you go. Please be careful be careful about the plastic surgery. You just don't, you want to still look like yourself. Somebody loves you out there, so you want to look like you. All right. Let's give credit to all the good music today, ending with 50 Cent, but then starting with Nelson. That's a crazy ride right there. With Nazareth and Bone Thugs and Harmony in the middle. ABC was in there. Nevermore was in there, and I did not know Nevermore. I got to look up that band to find out more about them. All right. Let's get you some stems and seeds, and we'll go to the pitch to start out. Here we go. Brought to you by AV Consultations, avconsultations.com, or 255-8678. One game going on right now in the World Cup, and boy, did France have a nice comeback. Australia scores the first goal. France has scored 4 unanswered. They are in the 88th minute. France trying to finish off what is now a 4-1 lead. Looks like they're going to get the win. Denmark and Tunisia, 0-0, a tie today. Mexico and Poland, same thing. Apparently there was a huge save in there by I believe the Mexican goaltender made a great save and kept that match at 0-0. They ended up in a tie. And the big one of the day was Saudi Arabia upsetting Argentina. That's right. Messi did score an early goal, but Saudi Arabia answers with a couple, both in the second half, 48th and 53rd minute. So 2-1, that big upset. As far as tomorrow at the World Cup, you probably know the U.S. team doesn't play till Friday against England. Tomorrow is Morocco against Croatia, Germany and Japan, Spain takes on Costa Rica, and Belgium will take on Canada. If you want to get up for those early matches, 4 a.m., and then 7, 10, and 1 is how those schedules roll out.
Yeah, get it correct. It's matches. Don't
It is a
disrespect
match.
the game.
That's
It's
right. It is a
football,
match.
It's matches. Now, if you're gambling on these games and you know damn well you haven't seen a football game in like 5 years, y'all are out of control. You might have to look at yourself in the mirror. You got a problem.
Do we have people in the office betting on the World Cup?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the
multiple
problem?
People in the office betting on the World Cup.
It's not
knowing
good.
damn well they haven't watched this version in football
No.
in a hot minute since Freddie Adu was playing. And yeah, that's a problem. You need to look at yourself in the mirror because
Yeah,
life
fair.
could get real dark.
That's fair. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. Be careful if you're going to be betting on the World Cup. Also tonight, Zay, 6 o'clock, we've got the next CFP rankings. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. Everybody stay put?
Yeah, everybody stays put, but we know that game in Columbus, that's going to shake up a lot of things. And let's see, with USC having Notre Dame this week, all those games being played, maybe Southern Cal, we know the media wants that market in the West Coast. Maybe they could squeak up in there and jump in the top 4 somehow.
I would guess USC jumps over LSU and they'll be 5, and LSU will stay at 6. That's my guess.
Yes, for tonight.
For tonight. 'Cause
Yeah, I'm with that.
LSU played UAB. USC got a nice win against UCLA.
Yeah, I agree.
If only TCU could have won by a lot and jumped over at least one of those two teams, but Michigan, Ohio State, and TCU all had kind of clunky wins. So probably leave them the same way. All right, coming up, it is Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harge under the lights coming up at 7 tonight. Talking a lot of high school football as we get ready for the third round of the playoffs. We'll be back for a Wednesday show, our last show of the week before Thanksgiving. Stay warm and dry out there and keep it right here on the Horn.